Hello, everyone. Welcome to Die Party Hollow Earth Expedition. Whoop, whoop. So,
Yeah.
This is probably going to be our brand new show because it's fucking awesome. From what I've read of the story and of the game in Hollow Earth, it's pretty nutters. So it's going to be really interesting to see what characters everyone makes. Because in case everyone was wondering, we're making characters today. This is what this episode is going to be about. So, feel free to skip this if you're watching it on YouTube because it's probably not going to be that much exciting stuff. I mean, you'll get to see the process of what we do to build the characters and stuff like that, but...
Well, it won't be a Michael Bay
very
Explodofest.
comprehensive rundown of the rule set, probably.
Yeah.
But, we might even be able to, if Dave has the time and can be asked, he might be able to edit together a very 5-minute rundown when we talk about rules together or something like that, something quick to listen to.
I'm not fucking doing that.
Okay,
Anyways,
not doing that.
let me introduce everyone. Up first, we have Caleb, who's going to be playing Caleb this time. We have Jacob, who's going to be playing the role as Jacob. We have Frank, who's going to be playing the role of Slutty Man 69. And we have myself, who's going to be playing Dave.
I don't know, Dave. You should give yourself a shitty nickname, too.
Don't forget.
Alright, mine's going to be
Frank's
Captain
Mount.
America, then. Yeah.
Frank's Mount?
Frank's
Yeah,
Mount.
horse.
Oh, God.
No, the FBI took care of that one a while ago.
There's
sick
a little
breeder.
in-joke no one will ever know about because I'm not repeating
Thank
any of
you,
those
God.
stories on this stream.
We
And
don't want to hear that ever
of course,
again.
lastly, we have our GM for Hollow Earth Expedition, who's going to be Mr. Wreckage.
I just saw the
think you
picture you gave me.
Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's fucking Vin Diesel with a baby face, in case anyone was wondering.
Hey. Oh,
Yeah.
I need to love this.
This is going to be the crew. We're probably going to have Graham join us about on the 5th episode, maybe, because his timetable fucking explodes open after December apparently. So we're just going to start off with us four, and you know what? It's a pretty good team. So, Wreckage, why don't you explain what it is we'll be doing today?
You were all given homework 3.5 weeks ago, and the only person I've talked to about that is Caleb, and he didn't do that homework.
Well, I think I've got to finish now, but yeah.
I think Dave did the homework because he was super excited. He did it right away. He's a go-getter. He'll probably get a full ride and a scholarship into TTRPGU.
I think you got that
Wait,
backwards.
hang on.
actually.
TTRPGU?
Yeah.
Tabletop.
It's
Oh, right, okay. I was about to say, what does that mean?
University.
But I answered my own question.
Yeah, good. You figured it out. You're smart. But I don't know. I have a sinking suspicion that several other people may not have done their homework.
If you're trying to vaguely accuse me, then sorry, I already did it.
What's
I
up,
was actually
bitch?
the one
What's
who
up?
explained most of the stuff to Dave originally.
Oh, well then, I
and
guess
I
everybody
had
did
all of
do.
my characters done beforehand. Thank you kindly.
Well, I told you not
shut
to
up
finish any
and
characters. I
download
told
that
you to
fucking...
have
I didn't make any
character
characters.
concepts.
I have the
Okay, then.
concepts done. I have 3
Okay
written.
then.
Yo.
Okay then. Everybody's done their homework.
Yo, GM, Mr. Vin Diesel Babyface.
I wasn't
is
accusing you
going
of
to be
anything. All I said was that
Ballbuster.
you insinuated you finished characters. Anyway,
Yeah,
Awesome, Dave. I was trying to figure out a way to rip out those 2 PDF pages.
yeah.
so basically, we're going to be playing Hollow Earth Expedition, which is a pulp adventure setting and system. Pulp adventure is a genre of storytelling that includes Indiana Jones as an excellent example. Those movies are the the pinnacle of pulp, which was a really big storytelling format in the late 20s and early up to the early 40s, in which then Indiana Jones, which was not shot in the 20s or 40s, but was stylized after that series. In Hollow Earth Expedition, the big thing is that some of the old theories that natural philosophers from the Enlightenment believed, that the Earth was actually hollow, and that if you got inside there, you could walk inverted on the inner crust, and there was a whole other world in there. In Hollow Earth Expedition, the setting is essentially that.
Wait, can you just like go back a sec? Because my mind just like fucking backflipped all of a sudden. Does that mean like when you go down the hole, you walk like on the crust, like that?
Once you pass a certain depth, gravity goes the other way.
Right.
There's
okay.
an inversion point.
So there's like a thing in the middle, and everyone walks around that, and it's like another Earth, and then the sky is like the crust of like.
No, the other way around.
Look at my finger, Dave.
Yeah.
See assume these are the holes right here.
Yeah.
You would walk in, around, and over.
Okay, yeah, that's what my mind. Because for some reason, I originally thought it was like, here's the Earth, here's Hollow Earth inside of it, and I was like, okay, that's weird. But now that it's like a sort of like a U sort of thing, that makes perfect sense.
And when you get to the Hollow Earth, the core of the Earth, the molten crust of the molten core of the Earth, is the sun of Hollow Earth. Suspended in the middle in the sky, and the sun never sets in Hollow Earth because it's like a Dyson sphere.
Okay,
it's like a mini Dyson sphere.
Wow. Okay. What's the UV like down there?
It doesn't mention. Well, actually, what it mentions is that people actually have increased healing capacity in the Hollow Earth, so there may be a higher incidence of cancer down there, for all I know, but. It's probably
went to Hollow Earth and got cancer on the way out.
It's the video game cancer where it just heals your hit points back to normal. It's the benign cancer.
So you get tumors going down there.
Well, they're tumors that actually just happen to replace your organs perfectly.
Yeah, like when you're in Hollow Earth, you're fucking amazing. You get out of Hollow Earth, you just fucking crumple because of all the tumors inside of your body.
Yeah, it's really rough.
So, the basic, every game of Hollow Earth Expedition, unless you want it not to be for some reason, is set in 1936, just before World War II.
Just after fucking color movies.
Yeah, and basically the exact time frame that Indiana Jones is set in. World War II hasn't started yet, but the Nazis are basically the predominant antagonist of the world. They're cartoonishly evil already, burning books and all of that, and just getting ready for their big blitzkrieg. As such, all of our characters will be, if they're middle-aged or older, then they would have, or even in their 20s, they would have experienced, they're in the middle of the Depression. They would have experienced World War I, possibly even fought in it if they're middle-aged or older. And it's basically that high adventure era of the world where not all the spaces are filled in on the map yet, but we have very close to modern technology with our steamer ships and powered flight and automatic weapons and etc.
There's fucking blimps, isn't there?
Yeah, there's blimps. Blimps are still a thing at this point in time.
They're actually just on their way out.
They're on their way out. He's right. They're on their way out, but you could still get someone. I mean, there was a blimp featured in Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like you could still technically you could still buy tickets to travel somewhere via a commercial blimp. In 1936.
If I ever had to go out, like in real life, I would do it in a blimp.
It would be very slow though. You have to wait like.
No, man. I'm talking like blimp explosion. Like I'm talking like.
He's talking if he could choose his mode of death.
Yeah.
It would be turning himself into a fireball that would probably kill everyone underneath him as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, they were probably
cause massive area effect damage.
Yeah, it's like
cause
2D. It's like 12d6 or something like that worth of damage on the ground. It's fucking
affecting
intense.
the ecosystem for years and years to come. But
Yeah, man, I'm gonna leave a mark when I go out.
In the 30s, they didn't understand the ecosystem. They thought the ecosystem was what you had to kill
Mate,
to
they
make a
thought
house.
fucking doctors recommend smoking in the 1930s. You know, like.
Yeah, no, like ecosystem. If you ever read some of that, like late Victorian sort of stuff, they're talking about completely massacring the entire species of horses because they've invented cars. Like that's a direct paraphrase of shit they were like. When we have these newfangled automobile things, we can make cars a species of, or we can make horses a species of the past. Like, oh yeah, it was. It's fun. It's a fun time in history.
Yeah.
Plus monster movies.
True.
So, having given that brief rundown of the setting, does anyone, part of your homework was to read the introductory short story and the setting, which covers the era and the pulp genre.
Oh, I read all that, but I don't think I read the story. Shit, sorry, dude.
It's just, the short story that begins the entire book would actually be quite helpful to read.
I'll give it a read after this, though, for sure.
Yeah, that's fine. It would help you choose your character, which we would hopefully have done by the end of this.
Yeah.
But anyway, that all said, does anyone amongst us have lingering questions that they didn't feel were answered just by reading those sections? Specifically,
yeah, what the fuck does a fucking actor do? Like, honestly.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, that's like my main question. Is like, actors are great, right? But what do they fucking bring to the party? Like
we can get to that question later. I don't think that's a question about the setting. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right.
That'll be more a mechanical question. But I will absolutely address that question.
Oh, you found out the answer? Oh, good.
Well, I've not found, but I've had some ponderings on it that hopefully will allow us all to reach an answer together.
All right, yeah, no worries, cool. I don't think I have any other questions though. I mean, like, so it's right on the cusp of color TV. Sorry, not color TV. Color movies being brought in is 1936. They have a lot of. Have a lot of like varying, like wealth, like there's very wealthy people and there's very poor people as well.
There's incredibly poor people,
and then there's also
mega rich,
and then there's also people with combat experience from World War One.
Really horrific
we're talking like trench warfare. Like if your character survived, like. Is it safe to assume that everyone who's a male would have at least had some sort of like combat experience
at a certain age point? Well, you could say that you weren't, even if you are that age.
Yeah.
There are people who didn't, but it wouldn't be even close to the average.
All right, and are we talking like what's the criminal belly like at this point?
Okay, so
Prohibition.
This is it like Prohibition? I was just about to bring that up.
No, it was like just
ended. Time of the height of the of mobsters in America. Prohibition, the Thompson gun, the Tommy gun is propelling criminality to a new height, unseen or unheard of before. When Prohibition ends, it'll all come crashing down around them. But well, not really. They'll still hang around. But this is the high point of the mafia and the mobsters. Shit, I was gonna answer an earlier question of yours, but then you moved on, and now I forgot what the answer is.
Okay. Also, in your game, is there like set? I don't know if I should ask that question. Is there like set entry points or known entry points in your world to Hollow Earth? Like
there's always set. You can see them on the map right there.
No, I get that, but like, are they known?
No, they're never known. The entire existence of the Hollow Earth is hidden from normal people.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like I'm not sure how best to word this, but like it's not like we're being called together to like go on an expedition.
Well, you might
into a hole,
Well, because they're. You might, because, again, if you had read the introductory short story, for example, in the short story, a meteorologist discovers that there's always wind heading towards the North Pole, and that doesn't make any sense. So they're going to use the wind to use a balloon, basically, and they're going to use this current that's always there to be the first people to fly over the North Pole. But then they discover that the North Pole is actually a gaping hole, and that's why there's a wind going into it.
Oh, shit. I guess we didn't see that before. All right, no, yeah.
Well, they didn't have the technology.
No one's been to the North Pole.
No, I get that. I'm just like, it's just fucking like in my mind. I'm just like, it's a giant hole. Cool. Yeah, like, that's interesting. Shit.
It also says again in the section or in the setting area that potentially any cave can be deep enough to transverse the basically the barrier. Lava flows. Extinguished volcanoes almost always go through the Hollow Earth.
Bermuda Triangle.
Undersea things like the Bermuda Triangle. You can traverse. So basically, yeah, there are set points that are openings. Then I can make an opening anywhere if I need to, essentially, just by saying, oh, there's a cave here, and it happens to be
New York City got swallowed up in the Hollow Earth.
Who knows? The other thing I was going to say, I just remembered, you were talking about how most males would have fought in World War I. Keep in mind that World War I, combatant-wise, was 1,000 times more horrific than World War II.
No, yeah.
We think about World War II being more horrific culturally because of the moral implications of the Holocaust. And the sort of clear division.
It was like a meat grinder for World War I.
But yeah, World War I was the first war after we had invented all of these new killing machines. So for the first couple years, no one knew how to fight against and with these weapons of mass destruction. Essentially, even at the time, machine guns would have been a weapon of mass destruction. So many people died because generals were still in the mindset of throwing troops at problems.
Lions and shit.
Like Russia.
I mean, in the first month...
Cavalry charges versus machine guns, man.
In the first month of World War I, 1 million people had died. 1 million soldiers. 1 million!
They were still in the whole royalty begets officer rank. More so than, or bloodlines to the officer rank more so than actual abilities. In fact, I think, Canada had one of the first generals who actually said, I'm going to give every one of my soldiers an idea of what the battle plan will be, even down to the privates. Most people just didn't, like the officers knew. When the officers are dead, everyone's fucked. Like, yeah, this is when shit got fucked up, man. I did a bunch of research on this shit a while back.
Okay, interesting. All right, so... Well, I guess that's sort of it for like intro stuff. I mean, like, how do you want to do this, Rick? Like,
Does anybody else have questions about the setting? Because we've been mostly covering your questions, Dave. I want to make sure everyone has a chance to ask a question.
I don't really have any questions on the setting itself, I guess.
I have a bit of a question on the party thing. Are we going to decide as a group, like, how we all meet or why we're all here, or is that going to be part of the adventure thing?
When you guys make your characters however you want, and I will discover or I will invent a scenario that reasonably involves all of those characters.
Everyone shows up at an orgy, but it's actually a hole in the Hollow Earth.
I don't like starting. I personally, as a GM, I don't like starting with the starting point and then asking you guys to make a character for that starting point. I'd rather you guys made whatever character you wanted and then make it so that all of those characters can work together. I mean, obviously, no starting point I can invent can make a hyper-moral character coexist with a reckless murderer or something.
Oh, yeah. What do we, like... It's not really a question for, like... the scenario, but like, are we gonna be all good characters?
I don't know. We haven't even talked.
I mean, like, is that something that we're gonna put a limitation on? Are we like?
I mean, that's what we're going to decide later.
I don't think we need to decide like we don't need to all be like goody two shoes, lawful good characters as long as we're working towards the same sort of goals.
Okay, yeah, no, I was just thinking you can't have like a
stability, because I see too often games getting completely derailed by one character just being so far removed motivationally from all the other characters. Like we'll figure it out. We'll figure out what our characters are. We'll figure out what sort of thing binds them all together. There'll probably be something that binds them all together, and then I'll just build the campaign off of that thing. And I've been playing with another group for a couple weeks, Hollow Earth Expedition, to learn the rule set. Their characters happen to all have a very clear binding thing that made a really great campaign, but it happened to have nothing to do with the Hollow Earth yet. And it may not ever. So it is technically possible to play Hollow Earth Expedition without ending up in the Hollow Earth, because you still are in pre-World War II, high adventure Earth. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can get up to.
Have they gone to Hollow Earth?
What?
Are they in Hollow Earth?
No, we're 3 weeks in, and they're not even close to Earth.
Damn. All right. Okay.
And what they're having a blast, they're killing and punching Nazis. Right now.
Nice. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Glorious bastards.
Everyone is a Jewish man.
Just last session, one of my characters, he fought in World War I he's a Scot who fought in World War I, and he just jumped completely alone onto a German U-boat and shot up the place until he got killed, pretty much. He's unconscious and bleeding out, and that's where we ended. And he has to stabilize to not bleed out, but he's also surrounded by Nazis all by himself.
That seems like something a Scottish man would do if he hates Nazis. Definitely.
Yeah, well, that was the thing that tied everybody in that campaign together. They all were intolerant of Germans, which is why this campaign ended up being about surface Germany and some of their sort of secret occult stuff that has to do with Hollow Earth Expedition.
Interesting.
As opposed to the actual Hollow Earth.
Shit. All right. I like that idea. Cool. That sounds pretty cool.
Anyway, so that answers Frank's question. Or, well, we answered Frank's question, then we started talking about other things.
We're good.
Caleb, do you have any questions about era or setting?
Not really. I have a specific character that I do want to play, but that's the thing I'm worried about.
Just in case one of doesn't work with everybody else, but
I have 3.
We'll all most likely be able to play your first and most wanted character.
Okay, so heads up, everyone. I still am not very clear on like Pulp and what makes a good Pulp character. So a lot of my suggestions are probably going to be like, So
you got us for that.
We'll I'll
give
try
you helpful ideas.
I'm gonna basically my character ideas are gonna be trying fit into a role that we don't have in the party, and I think that's kind of where I'm gonna go with my character at least.
And you know what? That's a fine way to do it. I'm honestly like I don't know a definition of pulp in my mind, but I know pulp when I see it. I know what a action
that
is.
Shit's pulp.
Cliffhangers are pulpy. Indiana Jones is pulpy. In the group I played with, when they got boarded by this German U-boat, their boat listed to one side. 2 of them were on deck. One of them failed a balance check and so fell off. And the other guy grabbed him before he fell. And they were hanging there over the railing as the Nazis started to board and shooting at them. Like, that's pulp.
Michael Bay movie sort of action, but like more thrilling, less exploding or Megan Fox.
More like
stuff.
Indiana Jones about to get crushed by a fucking tank, but then he like lifts his head up at the last moment, sort of thing.
And grabs his hat right before. That's pulp. Like every time he grabs his hat just before the door closes, that is the quintessential.
Or like the tank rolls over the cliff and everyone's like, "Oh man, he's dead," and then he's just like he climbs up and he's like,
up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's sort of fun. Like I guess like swashbuckling almost.
Ah, yeah. See, that's a better term. That's a term
I don't know if
swashbuckling
is the best term, but that's kind of what brings to mind.
Well, several type movies do fall under pulp.
Yeah.
Mm.
And several pirate movies don't also, though. So there is overlap, but it is not all-encompassing.
So the reason I don't know much about pulp is because I grew up in a country, in the country of a country. So literally, I have no idea about that stuff. My first interaction with pulp is a thing called the Phantom.
Mm-hmm.
I realize that's pulp now.
My alternate character.
Like, as in, like, you punch a guy and you leave, like, a mark of a skull on his face because you're wearing a skull ring. Like, damn! That shit's hot.
Yeah.
And, like, how everyone thinks he doesn't die all the time, but it's really just because he keeps training up his sons to be the exact same superhero that he's been the entire time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like that shit. That shit's good. But you can't do that in Hollow Earth, apparently. So,
no, I did have that one idea way back when, which was a superhero where wherever there's a fight, I'd run behind a tree and change, but there's no way you could play
spend
that.
the entire fight changing clothes, come
God,
back.
Yeah.
He's like,
so I had to rework that idea quite a bit.
Yeah.
But that would have been hilarious and fun, and it would have been pretty pulpy, like just jumping into a telephone booth, popping out as ta-da! And then
anyway,
face.
To get us back on track, everyone basically, hopefully now has a good idea of the era and the concept of setting. So what I want to hear now is just an open discussion about possible character ideas.
Okay.
I want everyone to share both of their ideas, even if everyone's super keen on the first idea that you say, just in case they're even more keen on the second idea. So whoever wants to go first can go first, or we can roll for initiative. I don't really care.
Roll for initiative. I'll go first.
Roll for initiative.
I'll go first.
I gotta load that page up.
No, there's no page to load up, man.
Oh.
It's all good. So my first initial idea, when I was explained to me by Rec what pulp is, was to play an actor who is so charismatic, but he's struggling to find a job as an actor, right? So what's he going to do? He's going to jump on an expedition to Hollow Earth to get his name in the paper. However, they're not going to hire an actor to do this. So his main role was to act as a tracker and act really well as a tracker and get hired on the team as a tracker.
Like
but it'll be literally like he rolls a die and is like for tracking, and he fucking just flat out fails. But he's so good at lying and acting that the people around him believe that he's doing the right thing. That was my first character. And I'm like, I want to play this guy so bad. Like, he's just terrible at it. The second idea that I had was a private investigator, former Marine or whatever. And his main thing is that he has a photographic memory. And that's his, like, sort of, you know, his sort of catch-all, be-all sort of thing. So he can look at a map, he can remember a name, he can do all that sort of stuff, and he has no problem recalling that information. And, you know, his main focus would be to, like, sort of, be like the face of the party, I guess you could call it, in terms of, like, interacting with people and just being able to judge characters and go off his gut reaction, and he'd be like a pistol user and all that sort of shit. So that was my idea. The third idea that I had was to play an Australian tracker, former Anzac. And I think that'd be pretty easy for me to play, being Australian. So
Anzac. What's Anzac?
Well, any of those characters could also be Australian.
You know how you guys call yourself Marines or whatever? We call ourselves Anzacs. So,
gotcha.
yeah.
Military.
Yeah.
All right.
It literally stands for, like, Australian New Zealand Armed Forces or something like that. I don't know. It's something along those lines.
Cool.
Yeah. So they're my characters, but, like, ultimately, I would like to fill a role in the party as well. So I'm not entirely
Well, I can
sure.
certainly say that the private investigator will be extremely mechanically useful.
Yeah.
But so who else wants to do their character ideas before we extol or praise?
Yeah, sorry, that was me. I was trying to write some things down so I don't forget it.
Okay. I can go next unless you guys are ready.
I'm ready, but...
All right, go for it. Caleb, you're up then.
Ooh. Okay. My first one was a rich criminal, like a mobster, a kingpin, basically.
Nice.
Yeah.
who's heard of Hollow Earth through connections in other countries and whatnot, and wants to claim an area in Hollow Earth as his own and set up an empire there. The second one is an academic who's found slight mentions of it in various texts and wants to know if it actually exists and learn everything he can about it.
So I like both of those ideas, but I have to inform you that knowledge of the Hollow Earth before the game is actually expressed in point-by-it character creation.
Okay.
So you can't just have heard of it because
I figured.
on the surface.
Hey, Johnny down the road told me about this Hollow Earth thing.
But you can, what you can do is buy. There's several talents and/or resources in character generation that come with potential knowledge of the Hollow Earth, or whispers or whatever. But otherwise, you can also expect, if it's that type of campaign, that session 1 your character's going to learn anyway. So we don't need anyone to spend those points to end up in Hollow Earth at all. I don't want anyone feeling obligated, because it is like a lot of points. A resource.
If I played the academic, I probably would anyway. But
well, if you played the academic, you could. So the difference between the Kingpin knowing about the Hollow Earth and an academic,
I understand it's a bit different.
These texts don't add up. Like, he doesn't have knowledge of the Hollow Earth.
It's just like a slight mention here, a slight mention there. Yeah.
He does have like breadcrumbs to follow. Like, I wouldn't force you to have spent points to have found breadcrumbs, but you can't know that there's a Hollow Earth. That's the difference. Anyway, good character ideas. I like everything I'm hearing so far. Whoever wants to go next can go next.
I guess that could be me then. All right, I have 2. The first lady, the third guy I didn't really like so much. I'm gonna get rid of him.
I still want to hear it.
Okay. The third guy, I'll start with one I hate the most. He's a World War I war correspondent.
Okay.
Who's pretty disillusioned, and now he's a reporter, kind of trying to look for something. He's seeing some of the same things that he was worried about happening in Europe, just because he saw the worst of the war. He doesn't ever want to have to deal with that shit again. He's kind of shell-shocked and broken as a human. But he's seeing those sort of rumbles happening in other places. Like, there's the buildup of military and all that shit, and he just wants to find some safe place to wait out what he thinks is going to be shitty.
Okay.
So, he's kind of a dull idea. I don't really. All right. The main person I kind of like was a badass, like a cross between Amelia Earhart and Gertrude Stein, lesbian feminist pilot who's all about just like, what women can. She's like a hardcore feminist. Like, I can do anything a man can do, just as good, just as hard. Yes, all that shit.
Is that really feminist though? Like.
But I mean, I think back then it would stand out a hell of a lot more. Like nowadays, it's just like, well, yeah, people are people. But back then, it's like she's taking a fucking stand against the whole like women's work society garbage.
Right. See, I don't know much about that sort of shit. But when you say feminist stuff, I think of like equality and like that sort of shit.
That's what I think too, equality. But I think that I saw her as a character as more of someone who's so just pissed off at the whole society thing keeping her from doing the shit she wants to do, that she thinks the best way to fix this is by going on some crazy adventure, getting as famous as fucking Amelia Earhart and showing everyone that, hey, I can do this over and above everything else. Sure. I've never played a woman character before. I think that would be kind of fun.
Give us a woman voice right now.
Hello, Dave.
Oh God, my boner!
I probably do like 3 statements in that voice before my throat just gets fucked up. Rec, you were talking earlier about one person kind of derailing things. The more I think about role playing her, I would probably have to tone back the whole like, fuck you men, I can do this sort of deal.
Well, maybe it could be more of a say you get captured by like.
Well, it's also
Nazis
my biggest problem with that idea isn't fuck you men or any of that. What my biggest problem might be that it's a bit too much of a caricature. I mean, in Pulp, you're supposed to be dramatic characters, so that fits. But
added drama to what I
at some point, you're right. Fuck you, men becomes over the top. She can just be, a self-actualizing woman like Amelia Earhart, who, Amelia Earhart wasn't super outspoken or anything. She just fucking blew everyone's mind and then got the job done. And then
she dropped the
smirked,
mic and walked
probably.
away.
I guess the reason I was going more towards an anger-ish sort of character is that I wanted her to be like a shittier version of Amelia Earhart, like someone who didn't quite have the charm Earhart had, but still has. She's got the toughness. She'll tough it out. She'll fucking fix it. And she's
a more flawed Amelia Earhart. Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess I could make her a lot less angry. She doesn't need to be angry.
But if the goal is to make a flawed Amelia Earhart, which is a good idea, the flaw can be arrogance. It can be it could be greed. It could be jealousy. It could be envy. I mean, there's anything that could be a flaw. Anger is certainly one of them.
What about making her like Pharaon from like the Blade itself?
Oh, Pharaoh? Mm. That would work. That's pretty close. Have you guys read Blade itself at all?
No,
I haven't.
Okay. Pretty much.
She's pretty much like spot on. Like she's pretty much like, to give everyone an idea of what she's like. She's like she's really independent. Like she has her idea of revenge is to go around and deliver it personally to all the creatures that have wronged her in her life. So she struggles with getting close to people, and she trusts people, but she struggles with showing that she trusts people.
Actually, I found a wiki for her, for the First Law wiki, which she's actually pretty close to what I was thinking, but a less, more of an, I'm going to show you that I'm as good as you, whether you want me to or not, sort of deal.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of how I imagined her when you explained it to me, Frank. And I'm like,
Pharaoh's is like a more vicious, psychopathic, lonely version of the gal I was thinking of.
That's not how I imagined her looking, though.
That's how I imagine her looking.
Yeah.
What's your last idea?
Last idea was actually, I redid that superhero thing. I want to have every superhero guy in those old pulp things like the Shadow or Batman or whatnot, they go someplace far east. They have a bunch of adventures in their youth, which molds them and gives them the power and the strength of the person they are today. I want to make the guy who's going on that first adventure. I want to make the someone who's going to be a cross between like the Sandman with that gas gun sort of deal and like the Shadow. Like a stealthy fucking dude he's just getting in there. He's learning the ropes. He doesn't know he's going to be a superhero yet, but that's kind of, either a rich kid or a kid who suffered tragedy who's he's on the path to make himself some comic book superhero. He just doesn't have.
Well, just to clarify, you can't end up as a superhero in Hex.
I don't mean like
as a hero like Indiana Jones, but
yeah, I don't mean superhero superpowers.
Vigilante.
I mean like vigilante. Like when I say superhero, I'm thinking. Like the original Sandman, he was just a regular dude with a gas gun. Like that sort of deal. Like I think the original Shadow, he was just a dude with 2 pistols and a mask.
And who used to scare everyone.
He was like Batman without the gadgets. Like that's the sort of when I say superhero. Like I'm not trying to make some overblown.
Yeah, but the original Shadow's like fucked up, man. He used to do gun running and shit like that in Asia, and he used to like smuggle shit.
That's good backstory.
Yeah.
And that makes sense for that, like, vigilante
Jacob,
asshole.
why don't you give me your character ideas, and then we will be able to move into phase 2 of discussing characters.
Oh, boy. Hold on. Alright. So basically, the first character idea I managed to come up with was, an archaeologist who's been spending a lot of time recently in South America, as I read in the thing. They said that there's a ton of unexplored ruins there, so that was just the first thing I ended up to. So it's kind of an archaeologist he's been exploring the ruins there often. A bit of a cocky asshole.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's just how I thought of him. A bit of a cocky asshole because he's going there and he's being the first to explore these things. He's just like, oh, I'm better than everybody else. I'm actually going out and doing shit. And everybody's just sitting on their ass.
Do you remember? Okay, do you remember like I think it was the second Indiana Jones when they told the story of how Indiana got the fedora hat?
It's actually the third one when they do
the third one.
Third, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, there's a character in there who ends up being his like someone else's main dad or whatever. But the thing is, like, that character, when you said cocky arsehole archaeologist, I just thought of him like pretty much straight away. Like, he's basically like, you know, he does it because he wants to find ruins. He's almost like a guy who's in it for the money more than in it for like finding. Yeah, not so much glory, but more for just like money. And he was exactly like Indiana Jones, except he was like 150% more smug. Where he was like, you know, a kid was like, that belongs in a museum, and he's just like, you're an idiot. And then he like puts his hat on him and slaps him across the face or whatever. You know, that sort of shit. Like,
All right, so for phase 2, we've heard everyone's characters.
No,
Jacob had another one actually.
Oh, right. Sorry, we talked about that for too long, and I forgot that wasn't the second one. Jacob, give me the last character idea.
The other character I thought of was I just summed up as basically, she's a criminal, but they're accused of a crime that they didn't commit. So basically, they managed it. No, not that they're not a criminal. Oh hell no, they've been doing shit. It's Prohibition era. So, but they were basically accused of basically a murder that they didn't commit, and so currently they're on the run actually. Trying to avoid capture for this crime that they didn't commit while they try to find out who the hell is accusing them of this.
So they got accused of a murder. Sorry, are you saying they? Are you referring to like a group of people, or is it just one person?
No, I use it was just gender neutral because I don't have a gender for the character in my head.
Oh, okay. If you could play a woman though, that'd be fucking rad. 2 women in the game.
Well, we don't know that he's playing a woman, either of them. Yeah. So. Now that we've heard everyone's character ideas, I would like, before we begin the discussion that I will lead us through, I would like everyone to open their PDF.
The PDF.
Already there.
PDF, Hollow Earth Expedition, and under bookmarks, which if you have automatic bookmarks, I would like you to go to flaws.
Oh, the rulebook? Right.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't have the rulebook on this computer. Are you able to send it over again?
Yes, I am able to send it over again.
Perfect.
Well, actually, I think I can do it as well.
Everybody can do it because you have it, and that's how Skype works.
Yes.
Yay, Skype.
There.
G'day, mate.
Sweet.
All right, now you said bookmarks.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by bookmarks either, man.
Many PDF readers like Foxit that you recommended to me, Dave, have a bookmarks tab.
Yep.
You open the bookmarks, and most of the chapters are already bookmarked for you, including sub-chapters. And flaws is one of those bookmarks.
Oh, whereabouts is the that button for bookmarks?
Oh, it's on
Foxit,
this.
it's over on the left, and it's purple.
Dave, it's also on page 76 of the actual...
Or you can just Control F.
Unfortunately, well, right, but it's going to come up a lot, and I need you to be on the right page.
Right. Well, go ahead, and I'll catch up because it's still downloading. So,
Dave, are you using what using? Which one are you using for that?
Foxit.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be bookmarked.
No, I see it. It's just not called bookmarks. It's literally called add, remove, and manage bookmarks. And I'm like, okay, I was looking for just bookmarks, but you know what?
Yeah, well, fuck it for Foxit. Yeah, fuck it.
Fuck it.
Nice.
Do it live.
All right, so you guys go ahead and explain because I've pretty much read all the flaws because they are the funnest things for me.
They're
interesting as hell. So yeah.
So well, actually, I can't really go on until you catch up because the conversation I'm about to lead you through is let's all have a discussion about which flaw for each of our character ideas would most make that character more interesting.
You don't have to take a flaw, though.
No, you don't. But I am using this as a mechanic to guide the discussion about character creation.
Go ahead. It's fine. I've read it all before.
Well, then, what flaws would you suggest for anyone's character? Or again, anyone suggest a flaw for anyone's character. But the idea here is what flaw would
Jacob,
make
what was your first pick character? I don't think you mentioned.
It was the archaeologist.
The archaeologist? Okay.
Yes.
He's the one you like the most?
Yeah.
If you had to choose? Okay.
I mean, it's mostly he was the first one I came up with. I can go with either one perfectly fine.
No, I mean, I think they're both good, but I don't know. I'd say either one of them. Honestly, I like both ideas. Like,
I do
kinda
too.
like the
I'm
idea
curious,
of having
guys.
some women in the party,
Yeah.
but you could also, I don't know. I guess you could flip the gender if you want. I don't know. That's your call.
I
That's
mean,
not my call.
Yeah, I know.
Don't
well-
let me push you on that one. So,
Gender
The other
doesn't
one?
really matter.
So I'm curious. What did you guys think of my actor idea?
I'm for the
I-
actor
I
idea.
like it.
I laughed. At least it made me laugh.
Like that myself, actually.
I also-
I still, I mentioned earlier when you asked about the purpose of an actor.
Yeah.
I still think that is a really problematic idea, because
He wouldn't be not functional. He would be a function like he's used guns before on set. You know,
He'd be a face type character.
he'd be a face type character, so he'd be able to interact with people. He'd probably have stuff like linguistics and stuff like that, so he could interact with other people because that seems to be something that we're missing.
well, as long as you can justify why the actor has those things, that's fine.
Because he's a fucking actor.
Right.
You know, he's been trained in like stage and stuff like that. So like,
I don't think you have enough points, though, is my problem. Because conceptually, if you have enough points, that works. But in order to also have the other key thing to the character concept is that he's pretending to be someone actually useful to the expedition when he isn't.
Yeah.
So,
but
has
he
to be a
gets
good
away with
actor
it
to
because
succeed at that.
yeah, because he's like he's really good at acting. So like instead of like taking points in other things, he just pretends really well at everything. So I don't know if there's like a trait that can help out with that, but
The one way I could see that working really well is that if Rec, if you want to throw a bunch of random curveballs at us, he's pretty much a free ride for you to do all sorts of shit. Like he's gonna walk blindly into everything hilarious and awful.
yeah.
Which I think that'd be great for the game itself, but that's kind of I don't want to put the ball in your court too much on that one.
Plus, it sounds like everyone's also got really serious characters, and I think he would be a nice sort of like opposite. I don't know. I mean, like, yeah.
My second
Yeah.
guy's a lot less serious. But
Yeah. I mean, it would be. The other group I play with certainly has more room for comedy than the suggested characters in this group.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just worried about the points because at character creation, you mentioned being passable with guns, maybe having a linguistic skill, a this skill, a that skill, but then just basically to have even the capacity to pretend at these other things, because every time you pretend to do an action that you aren't actually capable of doing, that would be a acting role that everyone else could make an empathy roll against to figure out if they believe you, essentially. So in order to get away with it, you would actually have to. You'd have to have the points in acting, essentially.
Oh, look, no. Eventually, it'll come to light
right? Of
that
course.
I'm not what I am supposed to be. Like that is pretty much part of the character.
But if you, but the points have to be there, is what I'm saying, in order to get to that point in the first place. In order for you to get on board.
all right, well, let's see what happens when we actually make these characters, because that's the one thing that I haven't attempted to do yet because you said not to. So
yeah, I didn't
Yes.
try making a character.
So, other flaws that would make anybody's current standing character ideas more interesting.
probably overconfident for myself.
Would
On both
for-
of them?
On the actor.
Overconfidence on the actor makes sense, yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Maybe even impulsive on something else. I mean, I like characters that like their one flaw is that they don't overthink things. Like I like playing those types of characters, and I think they suit me well.
the
The
reckless
Scot-
idiots?
The Scotsman who jumped on the U-boat, basically throwing his life away but killing a bunch of Nazis in the process, jumped on the U-boat because his flaw was impulsive, and he had the capacity to jump on the U-boat. So he said, well, my guy impulsively jumps on the U-boat to start shooting Nazis without thinking things through.
That's perfect.
Now, wait, Rec, a random question about mechanics. If Dave was to take more than one flaw, would that give him extra points to build out his character in a way that
No,
would
you
fit
just start off with more like re-roll ability.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Like basically,
That's not what flaws do.
no, it gives you style points, doesn't it? Whenever you act on something.
Right. So taking the flaw at character creation does nothing. A flaw is a vehicle for you gaining more style points during play by acting in the spirit of that flaw.
You get one style point if you take a flaw during character creation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that doesn't. You don't get another one for another flaw.
No.
So there's a section in character creation which talks about how many style points you start with, and we're actually gonna go through all of those things to a point. For example, you get like 3 style points if you write down your character's backstory, and I'm going to suggest that you all do that, but I guess I won't force you. But yeah. Right now, it's just you can have more than one flaw. So whatever flaws you think make your character more interesting to have, or someone else's character to have. For example, your private detective, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a cliche,
Yeah.
but paranoia
No,
is
I was
always a
thinking
nice
that.
touch.
So
Either
you-
that or
Paranoia.
lame, like maybe he took a bullet and got a purple heart.
Flat-footed.
Yeah, lame. That sounds like a lot of fun. I've not had anyone take any of the actual physical flaws.
I mean, I think I'm getting to the point in my roleplay career that I could actually deal with a physical disability.
It could work. I also think there is that whole the whole stereotype of the drunken smoking private detective.
So you
could
mean
do
like
substance
is
abuse.
there like an addicted one?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
there is one, yeah.
There
substance
is
abuse
addiction
is in
on
there.
a
Addiction.
specific
Addiction.
substance or activity.
Yep. You could be a chronic masturbator. Oh
Well,
my
I was
god, that would
thinking-
be awful. Don't do that. Please do not do that.
From an academic,
want
I was
to.
hoping there was one for overthinking, but there's not.
That'd be cool.
Absent-minded. Dude, I think
Overthinking. Let me check.
absent-minded would fit. You think of something
well, I
too
mean,
much,
like-
you kind of lose where.
Well, no,
track you are
absent-minded
in a-
also includes forgetting and overlooking details. Like overthinking would be like thinking too much about the details.
But you
and
could be overlooking something important because you're too busy of thinking of minutia.
Well, that doesn't really fit.
No,
Absent-minded really isn't overthinking. But
I mean, like the actor could be like fucking danger magnet, for example.
True.
I mean, like that's
if you're
kind of.
deliberately leading people into harm's way by accident, that's pretty much the definition of danger magnet.
Oh no, for
and
sure, dude.
overconfident.
Yeah.
but Danger Main also says through no fault of their own, whereas the actor is
Yep. No, that's
doing it because
definitely
he's pretending to be a
fault of-
professional.
It could be unlucky then.
Hmm?
You could always try unlucky.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe.
I feel like you have to be pretty lucky. Actually, that could be why you haven't gotten picked up on the acting thing. But I feel like to pull off your thing would require a little bit of luck. I don't actually know.
I mean, is there one way a condescending wouldn't be the right one because of the
No.
fact that he has to look good as well. Like he has to be attractive. Like that's pretty much like for the parcel.
I mean, there were a lot of people who are
a lot of
condescending.
actors are condescending. Let's put
Yeah,
it
there
that
are
way.
condescending people that still look really good. Like all the freaking Nazi Aryanism, that's pretty goddamn condescending.
But if
and
you're trying to be a
still
face, you
popular.
can't be condescending to the people that you're like.
I think you can make it
Well,
work.
I tend to not want you to make character decisions based on your role in the party.
I mean, that
Yeah,
sounds
I don't
something
want
like
characters
mine.
to be impotent, but it's certainly you can be this. You can be the social character
If
and
you
still.
base your character on, if you base your
Yeah.
entire character on the idea of them feeling insecure about their impotence, sure.
I think he wasn't
Impotence
referring it
doesn't
to
only
like
mean
that. but-
sexual incapacity. When I said impotent, I meant ineffectual, non-functioning. The actual meaning
Like
of
a
the word
penis.
impotent, which describes the sexual condition, but is not exclusively the sexual condition.
No, I just chose to use it out there.
I love this show.
I know.
I love
But
this
I'm
show.
clearing it up
All right.
so that everyone understands what I'm
That's
saying.
fair.
So that is to say, you could play the face of the group, but still have a social flaw that hinders your function as the face of the group occasionally.
Isn't
Because,
there
again-
isn't there one that you need to be in the spotlight all the time? Because I do remember reading that. Like as in like you always want people to notice you. Oh, what was it?
It might be in the extra stuff that.
No, actually, no. I don't think it's in here. I think it's more of like a, this is how you should play your characters sort of thing.
Oh well. All right. Well, in that case,
You could take obsession and then make your obsession tension.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime you're not the center of attention for,
He cannot indulge his obsession regularly. You suffer a negative 2 penalty on all rolls.
That's basically what a lot of these flaws do. Like addiction does the same thing.
Yeah.
Lame does that all the time, but for movement, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But then again, something like lame, which is a physical impairment, the style points are just going to keep pouring in, every single time. It's going to come up a lot.
It's going to hurt you a bunch, but it's going to help you a bunch too.
Well, I would imagine if I was going to do it, it wouldn't be like I took a bullet to the leg. I would be like I took a bullet to the chest, and they had to do surgery on my lungs, so now I can't run very far. That's how I would put it. But like,
if you want the lungs to be bad, then just have survived a mustard gas attack in World War I.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's
true.
gross.
You could do that. So.
All right.
In fact, you don't even. If you wanted it to be your leg and not your lung, it could still be the mustard gas because there's lingering neurological problems from those attacks as well. So you don't have to take a bullet if that's too.
Well, I mean, like he's not going to be limping per se,
Gets sore when it gets damp.
Well, it's going to be this. It's the same mechanical effect no matter how you flavor it. So however you want to flavor it, the result is the same. Because lame has a set mechanical drawback. Who else's characters can we discuss flaws?
I've got two lined up from. Go, Jacob. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, at the very least, my second character has a very obvious flaw: criminal. I mean, part of it's just. I mean, that's one flaw that'd be a very obvious flaw.
Yes, that is in fact written down there. Criminal believed to have committed a crime. It doesn't actually say that you have to have committed that crime.
Well, I mean, like the only time that would actually come up is if you're in a situation where you've known for doing that crime and people don't trust you. That's when you'd get that point.
Mm-hmm. True.
Yeah. So you only get the point when people distrust you for being a criminal.
True.
But again, it's not like you take another drawback. Like, the thing about this, the way the flaw system works, is it only rewards you when it hurts you. Taking the flaw can never be, it can never be unrewarding. Like, you're never going to get a drawback and then not get style points.
So how the hell does, lame work then? Like, is it every time I try to move in combat?
Well, you'll only get the style point when your lower movement speed hinders you. So you have a -2 to your move rating.
Oh, you mean if we're running away from something and I'm just I just miss out by
So yeah, basically,
squares?
so you have a -2 to your move rating. If you succeed at the move rating, even though you had that -2, you don't get a minus to the style point, and you don't get the style point. You only get the style point if you fail at your move rating.
Wait,
and it hinders you.
The way that I read that is that I just move less far than what everyone else does.
No, move ratings are. That's not how this game works. There's no boxes in this game. So move rating isn't moving less boxes. In this game, everything is dice pools. You have. If I ask for a movement roll for some reason, you have 2 less.
Ah, okay, cool. No, because in my mind I was like, he's just gonna be fucking slow everywhere, Anyway, yeah. What was your other flaw there, Jacob?
Hold on.
Or multiple other flaws.
I mean, well, for the first character, since I said he's a cocky asshole, I could use either condescending or callous, because callous is him.
Both too.
Yeah, but that's I probably would use both. Because I mean, he is basically just a cocky jackass who's flaunting that he's going out and doing the shit.
I feel like Callus would go way against the party, though.
Yeah, that's my issue.
I mean, every single time someone asks for help, you'd be like, nah, fuck you, dude.
Well, no, because callous.
Yeah, not quite.
I mean, callous is not the same as
Play unmerciful on deaf ears.
as disliking others. It just means you're insensitive to them. You have less empathy towards other people. It doesn't also mean that you have no empathy.
Oh, no, it literally means you cannot show mercy to anyone.
No, here's Dave. Here's the text. Your character is selfish, uncaring, and insensitive to the suffering of others. He is hard-hearted and will not go out of his way to help anyone. Pleas for mercy fall on deaf ears. You earn a style point when your character does something particularly selfish or refuses to help someone in dire need. I don't know if that fits your idea as well.
I mean, like, for example, it's like, I'd imagine that, like, oh, I got shot, I need someone to sort of help me up. Jacob's character is the only one there, and then he's just like, eh.
It's like,
well, he also... No, because he's... So the thing is, I mean, this also comes down to being a conscientious a role player, right? Which is to say, you have the flaw callous, but that doesn't mean that you specifically reject helping other people. It's just you are selfish, so you don't necessarily always do. So if someone gets shot and needs help getting up, and there aren't still bullets whizzing through the air, say, even someone who's callous has no reason not to help that person. So at that point, if you just don't help them, you aren't being a conscientious role player. You're being sort of a robotic role player. Oh, I have the callous flaw. I'm not supposed to help anyone. No, that's not it. It just means in some situations your character thinks of himself first and not of others. If bullets are still whizzing through the air and this other character needs help, then the callous person with the flaw can be like, I'm just going to get out of here. And then they'd get a style point for being callous.
All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's more of a conversation on the actual meta of being a role player.
Yeah.
Hooray, we've all learned.
No,
Frank, you had some ideas about flaws for your characters.
I did. I had for the pilot gal, I was thinking either condescending to where she just thinks anything a man can do, she can do as well or better. But I feel like it would only be condescending towards men. And the second one is intolerant. She's just prejudiced against men. Like, they've held her down from getting her pilot's license and whatnot.
Well, wouldn't overconfident be better? It literally is, she believes there's nothing she can't do better than anyone else.
All of them would work. I don't think any of them
Actually,
are better.
Yeah. All three of them work.
Her foolhardy attitude can get her into trouble from time to time. You earn a style point when your character is forced to ask for help, or when her bravado gets in over her head. That pretty much, like, man, if there's a party full of men and you're the only woman, and then you have to ask someone who's a man for help, like, damn.
that actually does sound good. I like that. But the thing is that I feel like,
because you'd be like biting your lip. You're like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna ask for help.
I'll gotta get to death. I don't care.
I gotta get out myself. But then when you do, you get a style point. It's like, yeah.
But the thing is that I feel like it works best when it's in combination with something else. Like, I do like the overconfident quite a bit, actually. But I guess, like, overconfident.
Hard to do. Like, that's one of the more,
it will kill me eventually. It will kill me.
Well, no, I'm not even saying like mechanically hard to do. I mean, that's one of the less clear and
yeah, that's true.
Like, I don't want anyone to get it over their head with their character concept. I don't want you to dread coming to the table because you've got, I'm trying to play an inspirational feminist and, trying to speak to the plight of women in the 1930s. And
Frank's not going to do that.
When you say it like that, now I'm feeling all weird about it. Shit. But,
no, honestly, I imagine it's like this, right? Say, like, we're driving a Jeep and we blow a tire. Frank's character's first one, jump out of the car, grabs a fucking thing, starts taking off a tire.
Yeah. I fail 3 rolls, and it's like, oh, fuck, help me, you asshole.
No, you just storm off. You don't ask for help. And then someone else is like, that fucking Frank woman. And then we do
Frank the woman.
Yeah. And then, well, he doesn't have a character name yet. And then it's like someone else does it. But if Frank actually turned around and asked for help, he would have to roleplay in such a way that his character would be against doing it, right? Like, that's how I imagine that going. I don't imagine it being like, oh, I'm dying.
Brings up another good point. That brings up another good point, Dave, which the style points are like the flaw system is a mechanical reward, but it's based on role playing, which is to say that if Frank puts himself in the situation where he's changing his tire, fails, and then asks for help, but there's no if he just does it, that's not a style point reward because you set yourself up to do it and then did it, and there was no.
Well, what about if it's a situation where it's like, I'm standing over Frank's shoulder and I'm like, you really don't know what you're doing, do you?
Staring down on us, and I've just failed 3 rolls.
No T-Rex. None of this shit. There's no time constraint here. I'm just staring over your shoulder, just watching you fucking fumble around like a goddamn fucking idiot. And I'm standing there and I'm like...
Insulting.
You really sure you know how to do this? Because it sure doesn't look like you do. And then you just like, you turn around and you go, shut up, I know what I'm doing. And then you like, you keep trying and trying. And then I was like, all right, man, you do what you do.
But see, the thing is that when you're, the thing you just said is that if I eventually get that correct roll, then that would be a perfect example of condescending. Like, fuck you, I know how to do this shit. You know what you're talking about, I just got the fucking thing. Bam, I did it. It would like reinforce my condescension.
Condescending's more like, oh, hey, really? All right. Like, that's condescending.
No, I mean, what you're describing sort of strikes me more as pompous, maybe, but is specifically the condescending flaw. You get the style point every time you prove your superiority. So when you prove that you're superior, which is the attitude that you constantly have.
Well, it's not like having both of them will be bad for you. You could have the 2 flaws, man.
You could have
why don't we come back to her? Let's come back. She's a tough case. Like, I like the idea of her more than I'm liking the mechanics of her. And I don't know. I really like the idea of an early feminist adventure
like so far.
But yeah, let's look at my other guy. I was thinking the superhero guy. I was looking at 2. Either, it would either be the obsession. He's obsessed with, I've got to become the man I think can punish the people who did whatever, or it'd be some sort of an overconfidence.
I like the obsession one. That was a really good one.
I mean, I feel like obsession is what put him on the road to be in the person to put him in this situation.
But how would that be a flaw for your character though? That's not a flaw. That's more of
I don't know what he's. I need to know more. I need to figure out more of his backstory. Like, did his family get shot? Is he obsessed with the idea of justice? Is he obsessed with the idea of punishing assholes? Like, I know,
it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Well, because what Dave's question is, it doesn't matter what, because the obsession, because the reason it's a flaw, is. And specifically, like, we're not talking about, conceptual obsession. We're talking about the flaw obsession. He's fixated on a particular activity, and if he doesn't indulge in that activity, he suffers a -2 penalty to all rolls.
Yeah, so that doesn't really work for your...
Or earn a style point whenever your obsession causes him to do something.
I read that backwards.
Your character can instead of doing good or whatever. But, like, that's not something that function as the actual flaw.
Like, mine would be, like, fucking putting myself in harm's way because someone has a camera there or some bullshit like that, like...
Well, your obsession would just be center of attention, and then you would get the style point when, you try be the center of attention in a bad scenario. Like, say, everyone else is sneaking up on some tribals, and then you jump out to greet them, like, "Hey, look at me! Pleasure to meet you guys." And then they turn around, and they have human flesh dripping from their mouths or whatever.
When you said that description just now, I thought of, like, how you always got, like, the martyr. Like, I've always imagined, like, the character being like, oh, like, you get those stories where it's like, who is Mr. Such and Such? And then someone else will stand up and be like, I'm Mr. Such and Such.
I'm Spartacus.
Yeah, like that sort of shit. Where he, like, takes the blame for someone else, but because it puts him in the center of attention, he's willing to do it.
Oh. Yeah.
That's how I imagine it happening.
Oh, like pretending to write a book about your crazy drug habits you never had because you want to get on Oprah.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Like, that sort of shit.
Well, who was your third character, Frank?
My third character was the war correspondent who was kind of just like war weary and tired and trying to escape from the whole shit he sees happening.
Yeah, I like that character the most out of your three.
I'm leaning towards the second and the thirds as much as I like.
Really, I really like your first character, man.
So
I do
please,
too,
who
but I feel like she's. I don't know. I tend to do this drunkenly a lot. And if I'm gonna do a feminist, non-angry person,
It's a genuine danger. Like the second he gave me the character idea, it was like that could end badly.
I was trying to do it not badly, just more like she's in a situation where being a normal person will put her at odds with the entire society. But that's just, if I was sober every time we did this, that'd work great. Not usually, and that could be bad. I kind of like the second guy.
I like your war correspondent one. I've got a bias to it because that is a character that's in my other Hex game, and he's working out well. His was a little more.
Plus, you can talk like this.
Oh, he was a little more tragic. Like his whole family gets killed in World War I while he's corresponding, and like they get sunk by a German U-boat, and so he gets a pathological. Every single person in my other game had the flaw intolerant of Germans, and then one of the players was German.
Oh.
Do you guys like these American freedom burgers, not Hamburg? It's like
well, no, he's a German defector though, so he's on the side of the British, and the entire campaign is being driven by the British government. Like they're the instigative force. So the British government's like, hey, you guys all hate Germans. Well, here's a German defector. He's gonna help you go fuck over some Germans. But in the process, half of them are like, this German is German.
Stuff.
Yeah, they have a nervous twitch when he's like, I'll have 3 drinks, please. And then everyone's like,
That's actually a cool idea. I mean, all right, I might have to put what's her name on the whole.
Can I just tell you guys my favorite character from the other game, which is, of course, Graham's character? As all of you who know and play with Graham, he does the most amazing things. He's an ex-heavyweight pugilist, a bare-knuckle boxer with bare-chested, handlebar mustache, bare-knuckle boxer who lost the title fight to a German who cheated.
Oh boy.
The German had his criminal allies kneecap him before the fight, and he lost the heavyweight title back in his youth. And now it's like 10 years later, and he's all washed up, and he makes his living doing underground fighting in the docks. And he's getting his last chance to redeem himself on this anti.
Yeah,
that's exactly what his
I just
character
popped a
looks
bit
like.
of a boner actually. Ooh-wee. I'm not even gay. That's odd. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, in this case, okay, I'm
Dude,
gonna
the muscles or
put
tumors?
the main lady gal on ice. She's a good idea. I just don't know if I can play her
Dude,
that well.
I'm so down that you're doing that. I mean, she's such a good character.
I'm really getting into the superhero. The guy who wants to going to become a superhero. This is like one of the adventures that sets him on the path. I kind of, you know what? I'm thinking he'd have to be overconfident. He'd have to be overconfident enough to think that he can get away. He's going to be like a stealthy fucking like taunts his victim fucking asshole sort of dude. And he's like, fuck you, you think you can come here? I know you. I'm right behind you. He'll be breathing down the neck and like either stab him or shoot him.
Well, I do want to. First of all, I do want to hear the flaws that you come up with for your reporter guy. But second of all, it's entirely the criminal one's going to be harder to work in with everybody else because there may not be any criminals at any point ever in Hollow Earth. You may be lost in Hollow Earth the whole campaign.
He could just be adventurous, and this is the adventure that sets him on like the wow, maybe I should try to make the world a better place heroes toward a deal.
That's possible. Just keep that in mind that you aren't. You may. We still haven't really tapped down people's characters yet. But it's possible that the campaign ends up being like just exclusively in the Hollow Earth. In which case, if your guy's Batman, he's starting to like police the birds.
There's no fucking night in Hollow Earth.
Yeah, there's no night. He can't be the night.
Who says he needs to be the knight? He could do the fucking face paint. He could do the face paint Tarzan fucking thing if he has to, but I was just thinking, I don't know, I kind of like the idea of a person on his way to becoming like a non-superhuman superhero. Like,
well, technically, that's the right way to think of every single character because, I mean, in RPGs, we often get these character ideas for people who are already skilled, but by virtue of it being an RPG, almost everyone starts off as not skilled.
Okay,
Like,
so here's the thing. I just thought of how I'd play the actor. You want to know?
Go for it.
Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder. I'm a dude disguised a dude playing another dude. Yeah.
I don't read script reads me.
Yeah.
I mean, that worked so
movie
well
too
because it was a
nice.
meta joke about the joke that was the joke of the camp of the whole thing. They were all actors, but he was the actor of an actor of an actor.
God, I love that movie so much. You grew your hands back. What? Like, all right. Well, then let's go. Hang on. Then, all right. So I'm looking at the guy who's on his way to becoming a superhero. I like the idea of a stealthy person like the Sandman. With, you know, the original Sandman, you know, he had the little gas gun that put everyone to sleep.
I don't know what the fuck a gas gun is.
It was one of those,
literally
like,
a gun that spews out gas?
Yeah, it's a sleepy gas gun. Which
Okay.
he doesn't need the gas gun, but I like the idea of, like,
You could
of a
call
guy,
him the dentist.
but then they wake up giggling. That's just like... But I like the idea of, like, a stealthy sort of superhero. Like, the Shadow did the same thing. He would sneak around, taunt his victims, and then fuck them over. And
There's no, in the equipment set, just so you know, there's no like stealthy weapons.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not worried about stealthy weapons.
I want to hear the flaws that you can think of for your reporter, just in case.
Without looking at the list, the flaws I'd immediately think of is apathy and fear. But I don't like playing that. Like he would be apathetic as to like the world's going to shit. I've seen it before. I was in the fucking trenches. I know it's going to happen, and it's just going to happen.
What
again.
about a pacifist?
I don't want to play a pacifist.
He agrees that aggression and the use of force is morally wrong, and he will always try and find a peaceful way of settling disputes.
I don't know how... First of all, I'm not sure I could play it, honestly. Secondly, I feel like anyone who was in a war and writing about the war, they either go hardcore, like, oh my god, everything's awful, or they go, you know what, we got to kill the bad people and leave the good people alive.
Well, the first one is pacifist. Like,
yeah.
War's awful. Never. Not even in self-defense. Like, that's the extreme end of pacifism. But I want to remind you guys that the flaws, I mean, even just the way that they're written, it means that you're a pacifist. You can still
take up arms.
I mean, you can still take up arms. You get
the
the point when you refuse to take up arms because of your pacifism, and it hurts you.
Now,
that's the point. But it doesn't mean that in every situation you strictly have to adhere to that flaw. Yeah, it's nice to roleplay it, but I'm not going to force you to be like, hey, you're a pacifist. Why are you helping right now? Like, I'm never going to do that or anything like that.
Shooting a gun into the air is fun.
Hang on. All right, hang on. Then what about the wartime correspondent? He could be a Would the pacifism thing kick in if, like, he's got a guy at his barrel and the guy's like pissing himself scared? He says like, run the fuck away and don't do it again or else I will kill you. Would that kick in? Like, I'm supposed to kill you. You're probably going to bite me in the ass later, but I'm giving you this chance to get the fuck out.
If the guy came back, then you'd get the style point retroactively. So if you let that guy go and then he tells his buddies and the buddies attack, style point. If he immediately turns around and shoots you, style point.
Yeah.
But just letting him go when he's potentially dangerous. I mean, obviously, I know as the GM.
Yeah, I
so
wouldn't.
I'm not. I'm not
going
to
to
miss
T-Rex down the end of your barrel of your gun. And you're like, I don't want to see your face in this part of town again, T-Rex. And he's like, and then he.
Thank you so much. I've got a life
while I take a picture with one of those 1930s hand crank ones.
By the way, what type of camera is there in 1936?
They had cameras in World War One. They had cameras.
Yeah, but what type of cameras are they? Like, I don't know what they are.
The big, like...
Is it like stereotypical one that has that almost like umbrella thing on it?
Right.
Yeah.
Like
where the guy actually goes under the cover to take a look at the picture, and yeah.
Interesting.
I could actually do the whole war correspondent dude, but I do like the idea of like the stealthy young person who's on his way to being the superhero.
Well, I mean, like, fuck it. Here, Frank, here's an idea for you. Combine the characters together. He's a correspondent who is stealthy because he gets the shot.
Or he could have been the correspondent, and instead of being like some rich young asshole, he could be like a guy at war, like he saw all the shit that went wrong, and like he's on his way back, and like now he's gonna become the avatar of don't fucking start.
The avatar. I am the avatar. I control all four elements.
I like putting those two together.
Okay.
You know?
I mean, I think well, yeah, it works kind of. I think the photographer is a little more.
Well, the photographer is the starting point. That's the character you start with. The superhero is the thing you aim. Is the thing that I want to aim to as an end game. I want him to be alive and be some like crazy superhero, like do-gooder person.
Well, I don't see how that character.
I guess heroic would be a better word.
It finally occurred to me what rubbed me the wrong way about that character idea. I couldn't put my finger on it at first, and here's what it is. You can want to end up as something, but if you like, but you may not is the thing. Like if you're going to be an honest role player and role play effectively, like, and the events of the story should determine how your character ends up, not what you planned him to end up as. So,
I agree completely.
Being like he's going to end up as Batman, but we're going to start as before Batman. Well, you know, what if the results of the story would have been, oh, actually, he totally turns his back on pacifism and becomes dark and suicidal, or what if he, there's so many directions for the actual reason to play an RPG is to see where the character goes, to have it grow and develop.
Oh no, I agree completely. I mean, this is a starting point. I mean, like, as a starting point is that like he's on the path, and if shit changes,
I'm not going to stop you from doing anything.
That's a fair point.
Just as long as you keep in mind that, you know, this may be the idea is to play, you know, pre-Batman, just so long as, you know, if it starts to be such that he would have developed into something else based on the events of the story, then, you know, at least make sure that you are open to that. That's my warning.
All right. Yeah. Wreckage, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Which characters do you like the most of the ones that we've mentioned so far?
I like. Oh shit! We've been talking so much. I don't remember them all. I did like of Frank's. I like the photographer most. Of Dave's, I liked the private detective most. Just because I can see that being really cool. Whereas the actor, I'm still not really sure.
I just see the actor as like a nice alternative to like, because for some reason this entire party just screams like super straight-faced, you know.
Jacob's
characters
were
the archaeologist and
the archaeologist, and
I like them both. I like the cocky criminal, but I also like the idea of I like the cocky archaeologist. I also like the idea of the criminal, just because it'd be nice to have.
I like the archaeologist more because I feel like he has more places to grow in Hex.
Yeah.
I don't.
I know what he's talking about.
The criminal subplot doesn't have much to come up in the Hollow Earth expedition ever, so it won't really grow.
That was my main problem. I mean, the most I could say was that being on the run, they would, I don't know, something involving trying to find a place to lay low. That's the most I could come up with, and that was my main problem with the idea.
And I remember that Caleb's was, a kingpin and an academic.
Yes.
And I like both of those.
I like Kingpin, but go ahead.
But the Kingpin was going to be the hardest to integrate with a group.
Yeah, personally, I think I like the academic more.
Yeah, I like the Kingpin, like, conceptually, like, that's a lot of fun. But there's also several characters like that. I think the academic is like, the Kingpin's going to be really hard to integrate in a group. Nobody else had a criminal-ish. I mean, Jacob does.
Yeah, it'd be kind of hard to fit. With the academic, I'm just having trouble finding a flaw that would work well for
Technically, if we did the Kingpin, the accused criminal who's not really a criminal, the private detective, and the crime fighter, that's a cohesive group whose theme is crime and doesn't actually have anything to do with the Hollow Earth Society necessarily. or the Hollow Earth expedition. So that there is actually technically all of you have suggested 2 cohesive groups: the criminals and the private detective, who could potentially be brought together against some sort of common enemy, perhaps, and then the academic archaeologist, war photographer / adventurer, and
now
actor or private investigator.
To throw one more wrench into this, going back to my first lady character, what if I just made her less of an outspoken person?
What do you mean?
Like, I
Well,
feel like she'd
just well, I mean, it depends. Like you said,
like
ultimately you were working
a bruiser of an Amelia Earhart. She can be lesbian, but not a dick about it, and a lot of other stuff. And I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like if we're actually going to be going into the Hollow Earth, it'd be a really cool idea to have. She'd be an awesome character to play, like the pilot who's
I mean, I still don't actually know what you guys are doing, because again, we haven't tamped down characters, so it could go either way. I'm just making some suggestions. But actually, another way to Caleb, we still actually have not heard flaws for your 2 character ideas that might give us the final push we need to figure this all out.
For the Kingpin, I'm pretty sure I'd be callous or condescending or both.
I actually like the
he's a
idea of a
kingpin.
kingpin being super superstitious.
He is.
Wait, like
Wait.
oh, what the fuck?
Wait,
like 7
he is,
psychopaths.
Yeah.
Like, what I was thinking of, basically, if he is doing this and he is knowing about Hollow Earth, he doesn't know. He is basically going off of just a rumor or something. Then he's just immediately believing it, and you're like, oh, I'm going to set up. That sounds a bit superstitious to me.
Let me hear your flaws for the other character, because you've just reminded me of the next part of how I'm going to guide this character creation conversation.
See, the academic is what I'm having trouble with, because
Condescending
like I
is a
said
good
before,
academic one.
Well, I didn't. I don't know. I don't
Obsession.
feel
It's
like
gonna
it'd
be like
confusing.
4 condescending
Callous.
characters in this
Obsession. If
Everybody-
obsession was like something that could be obsessed with, like finding the truth about what he's been searching for.
Well, we
then
can
yeah,
find
but it's more of
a
a.
reason that he wants to find the truth, like a specific reason, like maybe he's maybe he's a professor of archaeology, and some of his students have gone missing exploring some particular ruins.
Rookies.
And he feels like guilty for leading them into the field or whatever, and now he wants to find the truth of their disappearance or something like that. Like, give him a reason to be obsessed, and he can be obsessed. But he could also be absent-minded. The absent-minded intellectual is a bit of a trope, but it works.
You could also have a phobia of giant spiders. Just saying.
Yeah, and
That's
again,
like
there's a
literally
whole
right there.
list of physical flaws
Yeah.
that no one's been really talking about. I mean, one eye, poor vision. One
Anyone
arm.
could fucking take one eye and that sort of shit. I mean, that's less like, yeah.
But it's because then you add, in order for in the vein of making a character more interesting, you address why you have one eye.
Yeah.
If I was going with a character that had been in the war, then I'd probably go with one of the physical qualities. But
Right.
Yeah, that's why Lame came up
neither
for
of these
me.
characters probably
Lame
seen
is good.
actual combat or anything, so
Well, the
I
Kingpin
can't think
might
of any
have.
reason they would have.
Maybe the Kingpin would have roughed up people.
I feel like Kingpin would be more.
I was
of a
picturing him as the kind
callous.
of guy that never did his own dirty work, kind
No,
of thing.
well, I mean, you obviously wouldn't usually do his own dirty work, but it's just like a couple of times you just need that special touch.
You have to get it. You have to
You got
climb the
the
ladder
touch.
high enough to claw your way up the ladder enough to get to other people who work for you. I feel like Callus would fit great. You can definitely get one eye.
A Kingpin who can't read.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense. No, that actually
That
makes a
would
lot
be
of sense.
so good. Oh my
you clawed
god.
your way up from the streets. You probably were not educated.
He's just like looking at like
You can
fucking
also do
bourbon.
the
And he's like,
you can also do the disfigured
Yeah.
thing. You can do the intolerant thing.
For the Kingpin, I was also thinking about this disfigured thing, yeah.
he's got like a big scar across his face.
We're talking like, well, Rick, would Dick Tracy be considered a pulpish character? Because
Yes, absolutely, 100%. He was.
Then
Who's
you-
Dick Tracy?
you have just made every pulp villain in Dick Tracy had an obvious deformity. Giant ears, giant head, itty bitty eyes, whatever the fuck it was. You've made a Dick Tracy villain. That's the height of pulp right there, which could be awesome.
So there's one final thing that can help guide this discussion. It's I didn't want the actual book wants you to start with this. I didn't want you guys to even look at it beforehand. But there's a list of archetypes, which are very simple.
I think those are fucking dumb, by the way.
Yeah, they're all dumb. But well, they're not all dumb, but they are actually they're good. They're good ways to frame characters. So at this point, you've got character ideas. Well, which archetype might it be closest to, and then see how that can help you. Because the thing about these archetypes, even though they're not particularly flushed out, is all of them work in their simplicity and in their perhaps boringness in the way that they're written right now. They work is the point. So it's a good way to take a character that maybe doesn't quite work and say, well, it's closest to, say, the celebrity, and if I just make it more in line with what's written here, then it does work, or that sort of thing.
Yes. I see what you're saying. Well, let's go with my guy straight up because, actor, whatever, no one knows what the fuck he's doing. So it says here, celebrities are famous for their talent, their looks, and their wealth, all for performing an amazing or outrageous action. They often have some useful skill or ability that can bring attention, for good or ill, to any expedition they join. Some celebrities have tired of the spotlight or care more for their craft more than the notoriety that comes with it. These individuals will go to any lengths to either find inspiration or simply to get away from it all.
So see that offers a different way to look at your actor character in two different ways there, because it mentions, say, a celebrity who has succeeded and then wants to get away from it all. That's like a totally different direction.
Yeah.
And helps to, it makes it a little more plausible in my mind. But it also talks about wealth, so you could be, an instigative force in the party by being the funder, that sort of thing.
Yeah, if I played the
kingpin, he would have done that.
He would, yeah.
His actual contribution would have been the wealth behind it. So that's another way to look at things. I will say, money's not. Money at start is actually pretty significant because you guys only get $100, and that, for the most part, you guys will be able to equip yourselves pretty decently with $100 at character creation. But some of the niftiest things won't even be available to you because individually they cost more than $100. Like some of the nicer guns. And you wouldn't be able to own the ship that you're on or anything like that. So there are some things to consider about having moneyed characters, but then again, you also don't need it. You'll still be able to do everything you need to do without money.
So having someone who's rich, does that give you more at the start to spend?
Well, you will put your points into wealth, and wealth will confer to you money.
Right, gotcha.
Then another possibility for your actor's character is an actor, again, not trying to make it big, but an actor who's obsessed with the craft, and maybe he has a role as Tarzan coming up. And he's actually going because he's a hyper method actor and he wants to experience an actual safari, and then something goes wrong. There's more ways to view your actor character is my point. There's more angles to come at it from if you.
Okay, the one character that I'm not sure on is the PI. I have no idea why he would even bother going outside of a city.
That would be, I think I think most likely the impetus is on me at that point. So I wouldn't worry. Again, I don't want any of you to worry about. I mean, I want you to, obviously, in the context of the the criminal character, that whole set is a set, and some of those may not end up anywhere, and you want to think about that. But for the most part, I don't want you to have a character and be like, I just don't know how they would get involved. Well, let me worry about that. I mean, you're a private investigator. A big moneyed client comes up to you and says, "Find my daughter," and she's missing.
There you go. Fucking
find my blonde and buxom daughter in a torn, beautiful dress somewhere in this exciting land.
He's exciting himself doing that.
Like the private investigator thing is like, you're the best in the business, and their ship got lost at sea, and I don't care that you don't do ship stuff. I will literally fund your entire retirement if you find my beautiful daughter. And then that is how you end up on a boat out into the thing or whatever it is. Like, there's plenty of ways to bring a private investigator into the fold.
All right, well, let's go with the assumption that I will do the private investigator. Because that seems like it might be a lot easier for me to play as well. I'm not sure how...
Yeah, and that's the other thing I want you guys to consider about Hex. Like, Hex is a pulp game, which means it's a fun game. Like, we're supposed to have fun. We're supposed to sit down at a table, and yes, it's nice to have these... But in Pulp, characters aren't supposed to be these gray characters that deal with moral dilemmas and have this...
Oh, no, they have very defined...
interesting story arc. Like, you're not supposed to have an interesting story arc. You're just supposed to be a fucking, like, whatever you are, and then you hit it out of the park, and you punch a Nazi, or you discover the lost treasure of Atlantis, or you discover the cure for your cancer. Like, you just fucking do it, and it's fun, and it's over the top, and there's cliffhangers, and there's explosions, and there's helicopters, and it doesn't fucking matter if every character is serious face, because every serious face...
You convinced me. I'm pre-superhero, dude.
Even though the car's unpopular.
He cut out halfway through his great
Rick,
explanation.
You had a beautiful. You were building up to something beautiful there, but you cut out.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I stopped talking because you interrupted me.
Because we just heard. It's a beautiful.
Rick, sorry, there was 5 seconds of silence before I said a word.
Yeah, there was.
Cut out? Okay.
It was so funny. We're just sitting there. We're just like.
No, I was waiting. Like, come on, this is good. I want to hear it. And then
Skype.
But in that vein of over-the-top action and morally non-ambiguous characters, your pre-hero guy, like, he can't be a Batman guy because Batman is super gray, or morally and ethically gray, and there's a lot of conflict and arc to his story. Like, Batman is not a pulp character. You know who's a pulp character, even though I fucking hate him? Superman's a pulp character. I hate Superman, mind you, but he is a pulp character. He's morally non-ambiguous.
Hey,
his things are over the top.
Rick,
and
are you saying that I could be Superman? Because I'll play Superman.
You're super fun.
I'll be Superman.
Superman, Dave.
I will be Superman.
But no, the thing is that, like, I was gonna do a pretty black and white superhero character, like not like Batman is a bit morally gray, but I like the idea.
You should stop
of,
saying superhero because that's kind of weird.
Okay, fine. Well, then what?
That is throwing me off a little bit.
I was picturing someone like Rorschach from Watchmen.
Yes. Bam.
Well, except for Rorschach is super.
Well, except for Rorschach's completely insane.
But he would be be a great villain in a pulpy thing. But no, I was thinking like a person who had the abilities of Rorschach. He's just a tough idiot who's like. I don't know. I was thinking the Shadow was my template. The Shadow, the original Shadow, no super telekinesis shit. He's a dude. He's a rich dude in a hat, a mask, and a cape who walks around with 245s and fucks with criminals. So I thought that was pretty freaking
you know what
awesome.
I would put in your mind more, actually? More what I would put in your mind is, yes, pre-hero guys, but a better pre-hero example for you and for Pulp is Mummy. The main male.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's an ex-World War I pistol wielding shooter who's just in it for the money right now. But then, like, he actually gets caught up in the morals of what he's doing, and he turns away from the other guys who are just sort of essentially grave robbers, and then ends up at the end of the day he shoots the mummy to death.
No. Go ahead. Keep going. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of... I mean, that's basically who he is. He's a pre-hero who's good with guns, and then he becomes the hero through the course of the movie, when originally he was just in it for the money, and then he has the moral... Like, at the one point, he's got the, no, I actually have to help and not just do it for the money. And then, whoa, we find the book, and I bang the chick. Like, he gets the chick.
Frank, can I offer a suggestion? Because this just sort of popped in my head.
I'm liking it because I can make the war correspondent guy into that guy very easily, and he will use the same weapons that I was planning on using for the pilot chick, which would be fucking awesome. Like, I really like that. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
But going back to your superhero guy, if he's just going to be like some rich motherfucker who wants to save the world,
I don't know about that.
Well, okay. Anyway, going on, he could potentially be the guy that hires everyone to join his team of ass kickers.
Oh.
But how would we roleplay that without me blowing a bunch of points on money? Would it be like I'm using the last of my...
points on money.
You
Like
would have
if you're gonna be,
Yeah, I don't know if I want to blow that sort of...
Well, that's the thing. Like you said, your character is like this rich fucking cool guy.
Well,
But it's
mostly
like-
because every superhero in that vein, like the Sandman, the Shadow, they're all like born filthy rich.
Well,
Like,
I don't know how wealth works in this game. Is it like you take the point and then you just
Yeah.
get more money to spend at the start? Like how does that work?
no, actually,
Like-
it's twofold. So, a character with no points in wealth starts with $100 and is considered to have a job that sustains them from day to day. That's it. So, like, they don't have any, except for that $100, they don't have superfluous spending money. They don't, go out to parties and stuff, et cetera, et cetera. But with each tier of wealth, not only do you get more starting money, you also are defined as having more disposable income as a sort of vague concept. Like, you make more than you need. You make excessively more than you need. You have a huge amount of disposable income. You burn money to keep warm in the winter. Like, it just keeps going up like that.
So if Frank was to take a point in wealth at the start, would that...
Well, in order to be rich, quote unquote, he'd have to take a couple
like
points.
wealth 3 or wealth 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't-
and I don't just mean that mechanically, but like if you wanted your character story to be I'm rich, like that can come up in other ways, and I would require you to buy that richness.
Now-
you can't just.
Would there be a way to work around? I know working around's a wrong state, but could I theoretically have blown the entire inheritance and everything and be completely penniless or completely back to a different? But backstory-wise, can I start rich and end not rich, or would that take?
Well, at that point, if you've blown all the money, then it doesn't. At that
Yeah,
point,
it
it doesn't
doesn't
confer
matter.
any bonus to you. So then, yes.
I'm just
like,
thinking
doesn't-
for roleplay-wise, just not for like actual game mechanics-wise. Just for roleplay, like I don't really think I'm going to go this way, but is that possible?
Oh, and surely that's possible. I mean,
Yeah, okay.
So the thing is, even if you don't intend to use something, if it can confer a bonus to you, it can't be part of your character unless you spend for it. So the difference between actively being rich, even if I promise I'm not going to spend money because I don't have the points. Well, no. If you're rich, quote unquote, you have to have the points. But then again, like there's no bonus in the game at all to having wasted your family's entire fortune and now you're poor. Like,
Or your family's cutting you off.
or whatever you want the story to be, as long as there's no bonus there to confer to you, like then you don't need to put points into it for any reason.
The only reason I was thinking of that was I thought that roleplay-wise it would be an idea. I don't know how good or not it would be, that if my like ex-orphan rich uncle or something, he blew the entire fucking family fortune on heading on down to the Hollow Earth thing. So I would be starting with no wealth, would be starting no different than whatever point spend I would throw in there. But that would technically potentially get everybody in there. But that's kind of a dumb idea, so never mind.
Well, I don't want you guys to think about how you're getting there.
No.
I will totally
Alright.
handle it in
Okay.
a dramatic and appealing way. The floor will fall out from underneath your 4 characters while you're at a cafe. No, I'm kidding.
Sweet. Do we land in Nazi underground?
Snakes first. Snakes, then Nazis. So.
The ground is
snake.
made. Hollow Earth is
Snake.
made out of snakes.
Yep. Snakes.
Anyway,
Caleb had a point, I believe.
Yeah, paranoia might be a good flaw for my academic character.
that's a
Like,
possibility.
as a result of finding these breadcrumbs everywhere, maybe he also finds
Yep.
hints of people that find these disappearing and stuff like that.
Yeah, this
And
sort
his
of
friends
thing.
can happen to him as well. Yeah.
That's absolutely a possibility.
Or you start seeing breadcrumbs everywhere when there's nothing there.
So, are you saying, Rec, that we have to have a flaw?
Well, I'm not forcing you to have a flaw, but the other point is, you take a flaw, it doesn't actually do anything to you until you make it do something to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure.
So, like, even if I did say, yes, you have to take a flaw, like, you could take a flaw and then never use it, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you should take a flaw just so that you have a better concept of your character. And because, frankly, like, without a flaw,
Yeah, Frank.
you're never going to get style points. I've been playing that other I've been playing with that other group,
Yeah.
and it says to confer style points instead of EXP occasionally, but they've been burning through their style points. Like, they all started with 5, and there was no combat in the first session, and they still managed to spend like 2 or 3 style points. And then in the second session, when there was combat, boom, all of them were empty at the end. So if they hadn't had flaws and then been hurting themselves with their flaws, they wouldn't have been getting those style points back.
All right. So is there like a tier of the X? You can only have X amount of style points at once. Like, does it cap?
No,
out?
you can have 1 million style points at once, but you can only start with 5.
Okay,
Like-
and so, what does style points actually do? Is it literally just re-roll a number?
So there's re-rolling, but there's also +2 dice for the next roll, and there's some other things. Hold on a second.
So you could use a style point to get rid of a fucking flaw and still get a style point out of it.
What do you mean?
Like if I took lame, right?
Right.
And then it's like you get a -2 to your next roll, and I'm like, yeah, fuck that. I'm using a style point.
Right.
And then I still, I miss, but I still had a higher chance of not missing, and I get that style point back because it hurt me.
If you miss, like, yeah, it'll still have hurt you. Well,
Okay.
because you're still getting that -2 because it would have been +4. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you hadn't had the -2 from the flaw, using that style point would have brought you to +4 instead of just +2. You see what I'm saying? Sort of.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So as long as you miss, you do still get that other style point back. The other thing that style points can do, there's an entire system called talents in this game, which is one of the things that's going to flush out your character. Many of the talents have multiple tiers, and you can use style points to increase the tier of your talent for the remainder of the combat round. I think it says it may either be round or like scene. It may be the entire rest of the scene that you get the bonus. So, for example, my Scottish guy who boarded that U-boat all by himself has the talent accuracy. And what accuracy does is typically in this game, when you deal damage, no matter how many successes you get, you only deal the damage of your weapon to the enemy. So whatever your damage your weapon has, that's all you deal. There's a combat maneuver called called shot. And called shot is essentially, if I aim for one of your vital places, I take several -2s to my dice pool based on your vital organ. But even though I get those minuses to my dice pool, all of my successes over your defense count as damage. So someone with like 11 in firearms, it doesn't matter if they get 11 successes, they still only do their 2 damage with your weapon. But if they do a called shot and they get 11 successes, and the other guy rolls his defense and he only rolls 4, then you do 7 damage plus the 2 on your weapon.
So you do like 9 damage then.
And the accuracy talent reduces that negative, and so you can continue to buff that talent with your dice pool or with your style points, so that you take even further less penalties.
All right. So then the style point will allow you to do it multiple times then.
Well, style point does it for the scene, I believe, is what it says.
And a scene is what?
Well, typically in RPGs, well, for this particularly, when you're not in combat, a scene is sort of amorphous and not particularly clear. Basically, I would determine when a scene is based on when you transition from one thing to another.
Sure.
But in combat, it's typically from the first time you roll initiative to when you're no longer in a combat
Okay. All right.
round.
Cool.
So if you guys drop out of initiative for some reason, but then go right back into initiative because someone else comes, that scene would have still changed.
All right.
Because it'll be, a different fight scene, so to speak. Like, this is a fight scene. Now, this is a different fight scene.
All right, that makes sense. Cool. So, if I'm going to play the PI, I'm definitely taking, for my talent at the start at least, I'm definitely going to take the photo... What's it called? Where is it? Total Recall.
Total Recall,
which is your character never forgets anything and has a photographic memory and remembers
and
each
won't be
detail.
sure if things are really real or inside his head.
I think I'm pretty set on playing.
Jay Helmish, thank you very much for the follow, man. Welcome to the Henpire. Good to have you here.
Oh, follow from a character generations episode.
Hell yeah.
I'd like to hear that.
Yeah. So what were you saying, Jacob? Or was it Caleb that was talking?
That was Caleb.
Me. I think I'm pretty set on playing the academic now. Like
Nice.
I got a pretty clear picture of what I want him to do and whatnot.
This is Hello Earth Expedition, so it's not an edition of Dungeons and Dragons at all. It just doesn't have a set in Twitch to put it, so I just put it in Dungeons and Dragons because it's the most popular tabletop group that...
The layman does technically refer to all TTRPGs as Dungeons and Dragons.
As I do on every fucking occasion that I talk about it. It's really dumb. Yep. Anyway. So
you're
what
not a layman anymore, Dave. You don't have an excuse.
So we get one talent, right?
There's one free talent, but you can also, with your sort of wherever you want to put them points, you can buy another one. So you can have 2 at start, but it also costs, I think, 15 of these points. It's very expensive to get another talent. Talents are very expensive and also very useful.
Tice8769, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the Henpire, man.
Another follow from a character generation.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
People are going to love Hollow Earth Expedition.
No, Superman is a complex character.
No, you know what? Superman... Oh, God, I'm with you, Rek. I hate Superman so goddamn much. Oh, every idiot and their fucking mother has kryptonite. It's like they buy it at Walmart or something, man. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, fucking the only thing that can't be found on Earth, apparently everyone has. So.
The only interesting stories they ever tell with Superman are the alternate reality ones where Superman is a villain. Like, then it's interesting because he's actually a really well-designed villain. He's impervious and, like, he's an impossible to overcome obstacle. The alternate realities where Lex Luthor's the good guy and Superman's the villain are the interesting stories.
Yeah.
Like Red Sun. That's one of the interesting stories. I mean, it's kind of weird in my opinion, that one. But any of the alternate realities where they cast the underdog Lex Luthor as the villain, then the whole setup makes sense. But it never makes any sense when Lex Luthor's the villain and Superman's the hero, because there's nothing for Superman to overcome. Oh, well, this robot has a kryptonite core. Of course he does. But someone's going to come along with a piece of lead and everything's going to be fine. Hooray.
An anti-kryptonite or something. Yeah. All right. So, Wreckage, going back to my character guy real quick, I'm really liking the idea of a war correspondent who might potentially become a superhero later on in life.
I'm sorry, I just have to laugh really quick.
Superman is like Halo. He doesn't afraid of anything.
Oh, man. Points for the joke about Halo, which I hope is a joke, because if you're serious, I'm going to kill you. Anyway.
Anyway,
yes, the war correspondent who sort of ends up in a position like the guy from The Mummy and becomes the hero at the end with his guns and his shootings, or whatever skills you want to.
That was the bridge. That was the bridge I needed, actually. There were 2 ideas that could become a better one together. I kind of like that idea. He's on his way to something over and above, something extra awesome, better.
Who's the guy that plays that guy in The Mummy?
It just starts off as a piece of shit merc.
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser, yeah.
Who I've had 2 cab drivers in San Francisco tell me he's gay as hell.
I can see
that. That up.
I can see that.
He's like married. And they also told me he was a shitty tipper, so they might just be ripping on the guy. But they told me he was super gay.
That sounds like ripping.
Maybe his tip was to actually give him his tip.
It was, I don't want to spread rumors about Brendan Fraser on Twitch, but I was told by strangers who might or might not have actually driven him. I don't know.
Now, that actually means that everyone has pretty much decided their character, except for our friend, young and impressionable Jacob.
Young, supple, impressionable Jacob.
I think this happens every single time.
Well, you're the Jacob. We love you like a son, but you are the most indecisive person in Die Party.
Oh
It's okay.
no, for damn sure, man.
Oh hell yeah!
It's okay. It's okay. Shh. No one hates you for it. It's
Also,
just you're always gonna be the last person to decide your
Hey,
character
Jacob?
unless you start a week.
if your archaeologist ends up having a fucking whip, I am going to just be like, all right, that's it. You're done. Get out.
I never even planned on it.
But you were thinking about it. I can see it in your eyes.
Whether you go with the archaeologist or now, if you go with the archaeologist, which you don't have to, but with Caleb picking the academic, we're gonna have to flesh out your archaeologist just a little bit more to make sure he's distinct.
Yo, grave robber. That's the badass archaeologist.
Actually, like an actually a moral archaeologist. That's a good. But it's Jacob's character. If he even chooses the archaeologist, Jacob, why don't you tell me where you sort of find yourself right now on this magical birthing experience that we call creating a character?
Yo, it's like a water birth for your character.
Ew. Don't talk water births. I saw so
I
many.
know. That's why I brought it up, man.
Oh
That's why I brought it up.
But man, you just had to do that to him. Just look at him.
Well, he could be delivering the baby. It's not totally creepy.
I'm with Pat Oswald on this one. I want if you're having a birth, you want the most futuristic way of birthing a baby.
Yo, lasers.
Not a home birth.
Vacuum tubes.
Laser delivery baby system.
The
Let's
joke
do
that he
it.
tells is, you guys got an experimental robot claw that reaches in and pulls the baby out, but 1 out of 1,000 times it accidentally skins the baby alive and makes an iPod case. Well, fuck it. Give me the robot claw.
It'll only get better.
Well,
I can just imagine it's like the doctor's like hiding behind like a shield and he's using like one of those claws at like an arcade. Like... and the guy's like, and here's the baby's head. It's like,
Damn, what are you talking about in chat?
Alright, yeah. Sorry. The fucking most vivid thing came to my mind. Just
Oh yeah, that's definitely. All right, Jacob, it's do or die.
Well, as I've been trying to say for a while now. God damn it, Dave.
Keep talking. Just keep talking.
Get it
Don't
out.
listen to his
Get it
last
out. Come on.
Alright, as I've been trying to say for a while now, basically what I was going with is that since Caleb decided to go with the academic whatever, it makes more sense for me to go with the archaeologist. As if I did a criminal, it would make more sense for the criminal if there's the kingpin, as it could build some sort of character interaction with the kingpin and actually have something to the character. Just as it stands right now, it's going to be a bit hard to figure out anything really about the character because it's very limited. The best I could do is at the beginning of the session, whatever. I should basically be thinking that whatever character is probably looking to skip town right now, as obviously they're being accused of committing a crime that they actually.
Going with the archaeologist, as we sort of discussed, what do you feel, and like how do you envision perhaps remembering flaws, but how do you envision fleshing out the archaeologist so there's more there?
He believes that he should be that if there's any ruins discovered, he thinks that he should be the first one to go in because obviously he's the best of everyone. He's going to get anything that's in there, but more or less he's going in for more of the glory than necessarily just the riches. I guess also he hears about some ruins where people go and disappear and then they never come back and presumably die or whatever. He's just basically thinking, no, just a bunch of amateurs. I'm going to go show how a real professional actually goes and does things, and how I'm basically better than anybody else in the profession.
How'd you feel about Dave's grave robber idea that he's perhaps his ego with himself allows him to perform morally unjustifiable acts that he justifies within himself because of how great he thinks he is?
Well, does he have to justify it because he's so great, or can he justify it because society wants to see this shit? Like he's, he can use society as his excuse. Yeah,
he would probably justify it in that not only in that basically the kind of I guess that, like I said before, he's more of a glory hound than necessarily one that's doing just for the money. So I guess it would be kind of like society wants to see this, and that they want to see he would get attention for being the person that brings these cool and amazing findings to the world, and thus kind of get something off of that.
So how do you plan on playing your character if he doesn't know about Holoworld?
I mean,
that's fine.
Yeah,
because
that's fine.
It can just be like any archaeological thing can bring him to the Hollow Earth accidentally. He doesn't need to actually go to the Hollow Earth.
And I mean,
but I'm more interested in asking him more about the need for attention that he's trying to write into his character. Like, can we expand on that a little bit more? Is he sort of a sort of Gaston type character where he's actually more obsessed with how good he looks doing something than actually doing the thing? Like, does your guy?
Oh no, he walks the walk.
Okay,
That's
so you're saying he walks the walk. Well, that's less interesting. But
he walks a lonely road on this boulevard of broken dreams.
No,
he's just good, and he's just arrogant about being good. Like, there needs to be something more there.
Yeah, I know that, but I guess you'd say that I mean, some people try to. I don't know how they would do that, but basically it would be noted somewhere that he wasn't always this cocky asshole. It's just after a while, he just kind of started developing this just this sort of attitude towards everyone. But I'm not sure. But that'd be hard to showcase.
Well, it's not. It's still not much. I mean, there's still not much there. Like, it just needs a little. I like it. I like everything, but there needs to be a little bit more there. I still think. But anyway, we can revisit that at any point. The basic concept of archaeologist is certainly a functional, arrogant archaeologist is certainly functional for the purposes that we need at this point. Perhaps even the next phase of character creation will help further flush out people. Let's move in, as long as no one's objected, let's move into the actual filling out of the PDF together so that we can address any questions we all have about the character generation process of Hollow Earth Expedition.
Okay.
Hey.
Got my sheet up and ready. Let's do this. Okay, I'm thinking I'm going to name my guy Leslie from Leslie Nielsen, because Leslie Nielsen's fucking awesome. I just don't know a last name yet.
Alright, mine's going to be Rex Holt.
I ain't got shit for names.
No,
Rex.
That's the default assumption.
Rex is a fucking great PI name, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm totally behind it.
Yeah.
Let's say, wait, Leslie, okay, I want to do a funny last name, like Manhammer. I don't want to do Gouge Fist, because that's normal, but like Manheimer. Leslie Manheimer? That's not really... It needs to have like a Clark Kent sort of alter ego ring to it.
No, it doesn't really. It needs to have more of a... Because again, we're going. This isn't a. This is thriller, so it's closer to the Mummy than say Superman. So what you need is more of a like ridiculously English type name or something like that, like not Moneybags, but like
Blablagingen or something.
Why can't I think of any over the top English names right now? They're all like.
What the fuck was the guy who voiced Smaug? He was also the new Sherlock. Cumberbatch?
Cumberbatch or whatever.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Cumberbatch and Hassenpfeffer. Like, just ridiculous...
Alright. Cumlinson? Alright, Cumlinson. Leslie Cumlinson.
Sir Ludovic Waldo Watson. Swimmingworth Constable...
I'll think of a last name.
Sir Ludovic Waldo Watson Swimmingsworth...
Oh my God!
Sin
give me the link. I want to read this chat. Give me the link to the Twitch stream, man. I haven't seen any of this stuff. Oh, come on, link me that shit, please.
You should have it already. You should be following. You should be following Dave.
I am following Dave. I didn't have the window open. I've been busy creating.
Well, that means you've gotten an email telling you that he started streaming a couple hours ago. So you can click that email and get here.
Wait, Dave streams? What?
What?
Yeah, no, you're on television.
God damn it, again.
Shit.
Why do you think we always ask you to strip?
Wait, you ask him to strip?
Now I
Makes
know
a
why
little
you
bit
kept
of sense
saying
now.
no. Not fair. Oh, what the hell? Now I see the chat room. Can I like scroll back up to see previous shit?
No.
Nope.
No,
God
nothing
damn
before
it.
Detroit.
Write more
They were
funny
talking-
English names. Damn it.
Yeah, come up with a great English
Oh
name
my
for
God.
Frank.
You
It
know,
has
alright,
to be
hang
like
on. Alright,
32
hang
syllables long.
If three people agree on a suitably hilarious English name, I will use it
No,
as
we don't
my-
have time for that. We don't have time for that. It's
I don't
got to
have to
be
make
like
the
a
last name
Wadsworth
now.
or something and just move on.
Okay, I don't have to use that
Glasscock.
last name now, but the most people that vote for the same name, I'm going to use that fucking name. So
There's
go for
like
it.
9 people in the chat and 2 of them are... Well, anyway. So, direct your attention to the beginning of the character creation stuff in Chapter 2. We've basically covered archetypes and motivations, which are just the parts of the chapter to help you make a character, and we've done that in our own way, in our own special way.
Special eyes.
I have special players.
What are you trying to say, Rick? What are you trying to say?
So,
I'm
it's
saying
also
they can't possibly have my brand.
Get fucked.
Gross.
God damn
Oh my god. Billington, Cobblestone, Folds, Venstein.
I had to reload the
Heinrich
fucking
von
page.
Wilstrom.
All I've got is Chunsworth Huntington, which is fucking beautiful. Could you guys Control C, Control V the last couple?
Absolutely. This is
It's
ridiculous.
amazing, and I will choose the fucking the 2 greatest names, and then I'll throw a third on the end of it.
They're all
I got
capitalized.
Carlton McDouglas, Elliot Walter Cummings, Chunsworth Huntington the Fourth, Carlton
Moving
McDouglas.
on! This is not important right now. We're wasting time.
Alright, yeah, go ahead.
Open the PDF that Dave has linked. It's a form-fillable PDF. That way you can keep it with you at all times, preciously close to your body and your heart.
it.
The form-fillable PDF, like many PDFs, actually has the numerics of character creation at the bottom of the first page. So that's going to run us through basically the numbers that we have. But the first thing we have to do is primary attributes.
Alright, so you get 15
in the
of these,
system.
right? So
You get 15 points for primary attributes, and there are 6 of them. There are 6 primary attributes. There is body, dexterity, strength, charisma, intelligence, and willpower.
yeah.
Do they all start at 1 or do they start at 0?
They all start at 1, actually, because you can't have 0 in them.
By the way, there are totally traits in here that allow you to take a particular skill and make that your defense roll. It's worth pointing that out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
I was
also, I
looking
think,
at
one
body.
for using intelligence for attack and defense and stuff
I
like
think
that.
primary attributes start at 1. Let me check.
Because I'm. Actually, they might. I'm trying to figure this out.
No, they do. Hold on a sec. I just need to... Yeah, it's always at least 1, and they can only go up to 5.
Yeah, so you can only put 5 points into something.
At character generation, you can technically buy more points afterwards. But yeah, it starts at 1 and can only go up to 5. We've got 15 points amongst 6 stats in primary attributes. You don't have to fill that out now because you may want to think about how primary attributes affect secondary attributes.
Sorry, there was an alarm going off outside.
It's fine.
Was it a murder?
Get your gun,
It's just
man.
your
You're
town
getting robbed.
shifting to its hell version.
The fuck was that noise?
Hey man, there's a fucking air siren here every Tuesday at midday. So, you know.
Yeah, but it's Tuesday at noon, and it
Yeah,
tells
there's
you it's a
one
warning
Wednesday at
too.
1 here. But mine doesn't sound at all like the Silent Hill one, so it never scares me.
Alright, so first things, it's actually worth pointing out your defense, because this is probably going to come up at some point. So your defense is it's passive defense plus your active defense negative to your size. So if you make your character exceptionally tall, for example, you're going to have less defense than what a character who'd be smaller.
It's very hard to deviate from standard human 0. I don't even think you can as a human, as a matter of fact.
But the bigger you are, the more health you have. So like there is like a reason to be tall, for example. So like a T-Rex would be super easy to hit, obviously, but it would have a lot of health. Like that's just sort of how it would work.
Well, no, size is actually relative in this system. That's actually it's one of the really confusing rules that we haven't had to deal with yet because we haven't fought anything bigger than a human.
Sure.
But between 2 T-Rexes, for example, they are effectively both size 0 because they are that size. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So then there's rules for what you're doing when you're attacking something smaller than yourself and what you're doing when you're attacking something larger than yourself and vice versa. And it's a relative stat, and it's very complicated and confusing, and I don't actually understand it right now.
So your passive defense is your body rating, and your active defense is your dexterity rating. So this works exactly how it does in D&D, pretty much. If you get caught unaware, your passive defense
or if you're
comes
tied
into...
up,
Yeah.
or if you're unconscious.
Yeah.
Anything that prevents you from moving responsively to the thing will remove your active defense, which is essentially your capacity to dodge.
Though there are traits in there that will always allow you to have both your active and your passive at the same time.
Danger sense will prevent you from ever losing active defense.
And then there's also the ability to change your passive defense to some other trait as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth pointing out that your health is your body plus your willpower plus the size of who you are. So, if you have body and willpower, you're going to be a big, healthy guy who basically isn't afraid of no thing. Because willpower also constitutes how scared you are in a situation. So, is that...
Well, and to clarify, secondary attributes include size, move, perception, initiative, defense, and stun. Now, stun is probably the only one in that entire thing that isn't immediately recognizable as a thing. In this game, there is a system in combat for being dazed and being unconscious. Stun determines essentially daze and unconsciousness states. You get dazed when they deal more than your stun rating in a single turn. You get unconscious if they do like double plus 2 your stun rating. You also get unconscious if you drop to 0 health. But the stun rating specifically involves how much damage you can take in a single hit and still remain conscious or not dazed. Secondary attributes are determined by combining 2 of the primary attributes.
Yep.
So your secondary attributes are automatic.
So move is strength plus dexterity, for example.
Perception, intelligence, willpower, initiative, dexterity, intelligence. It's all fairly straightforward, frankly.
Yeah.
So you said we have 15 points for
15.
primary attributes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And they all start at 1.
So does that mean we only have to spend 4 points?
To get to 5.
I have a question.
So then theoretically you can max out like 3 and then have stuff in the others.
The talents that give +1 to a primary attribute, like charismatic, give +1 to charisma. Does that give you... Can that make you go over the 5
Yeah,
limit?
you take the traits afterwards, so...
Okay.
The reason why I questioned this before is because I had glanced through I had mostly just glanced through some of the character sheets they had later, and their stats were all really low.
Yeah, no, wait, that can't be right.
Yeah, that's why
no, I get it. I get it.
The higher you go, the more points it
15
takes.
points, but you have to put the 1s in first.
Okay.
Like, 1 is the lowest you can have in a stat, but that actually does take out of your 15 points.
So we have 9 points. Okay.
So you have 9 points to place. That is correct. I remember that from last time.
Z-Blade Master 30Z.
Jacob.
Thank you
and
very
your
much
honesty.
for your follow. Welcome to the Henpire. I hope you're
many
enjoying.
follows.
Hope you're enjoying the Hollow Earth Expedition CC.
The
just
Henpire,
Just
Yeah,
Dave?
man.
wait until the
Yeah.
music
The
starts. And you start
Henpire.
punching
The
Nazis in
Henpire.
the face.
Oh my god, I'm gonna rip on you so hard at work tomorrow.
You should. It's fucking cheesy for a reason.
Not even funny. It's gonna be
Hey
embarrassing.
man, I
It's
even
gonna
bought a
be painful.
URL and all that shit. So you know.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
I feel like I have to go
Honestly,
to the
it's
bathroom and rub
not the
one out or
worst you
something.
could have gone with.
No, it's actually it's catchy,
Mm.
but I'm still gonna fuck with you.
Do it. I don't give a fuck. You've seen more horse dicks than I've ever seen.
I believe he
Is
has
that a
it
note
since
of
we were in the
jealousy
room.
I detect in your voice? Like,
That's
I'm
actually
not- I
no,
grew up
it-
on a
you
rice
know what?
farm, Dave. You grew
You know
up
what?
on an animal farm. You sick prevert.
I've actually probably
I just
seen
saw
more horse
rice
dicks than
dicks,
you
which are
have.
flowers.
So you know, yeah,
So
I'll take that
there.
back. I've probably
Yeah.
seen more horse dicks than anyone here. So let's just go.
What?
Well, now, don't be so
I'm not
hasty.
even gonna ask.
You don't know my tastes.
What is this, confession hour and die party? God damn.
Anything that gets them listeners.
Caleb, how
I'm
many
not
horse
saying
dicks have you seen?
You don't know what I'm into.
That's
It
true.
could involve horse dicks. It could involve diapers. Who knows?
Now
I
diapers.
hope
That's
not
a
at the
that's
same
a
time
weird.
because you need a hell of a diaper to make that work. Like,
I think a
call me
horse dick
old-fashioned,
diaper.
but that's
Anyway.
like, oh man, I'm just gonna like immediately stop thinking about that now. Ow.
Yeah. All right. So moving
All right,
on,
so-
we've
All
got
right,
9 points to
instead
put
of
in.
15.
Yeah.
So everyone
After
understands
L1.
attributes. Then, after attributes, comes skills. Oh, everybody loves skills. You get a skill. He gets a skill.
You don't.
Everybody gets a skill. There are a lot of skills in this game. Well, a lot. I mean, Pathfinder probably has more. But you can find the list of all the skills on page 49 as marked in the PDF, but your PDF reader probably views it as like page 53 or 52 or something because, you know, how PDFs work.
PDFs.
They're
How
never
does this work?
one to one.
PDFs.
So. Mm-hmm.
Chat, you are such a fucking son of a bitch.
MBLE07. I'm a little bit jealous.
Yeah, that's what I'm laughing at, man. That's what I'm laughing at.
Some skills require specialization, and some skills require requirements. For example, there are craft and science skills, but you don't just take craft or science. You take science, chemistry, craft, carpentry, because there's also chemistry, electronics, mechanics, medicines, etc. There is a talent for being diversified in those. So there's a talent for craft mastery, and then you can craft all things equally. Just to clarify, I'm not going to go over the full list of skills because you can determine what your character would or would not have.
Right.
However, that can also be a driving force in figuring out who or what exactly your character is. I would definitely take a look at those skills. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to the bathroom while you guys look at those skills.
But what will happen to your web? Oh wait, Vin Diesel will take
Shine
your
my
place. baby
Gotta
Diesel.
shine in my eyes for that.
Baby Diesel. Yeah. So looking at the skills here, I mean, like, if I'm gonna do my guy as a PI, he's definitely gonna want like int and charisma by the looks of things, because it's
And if you're gonna go for that version where he reads people, then
empathy is what he needs. Yeah.
well, actually, yeah, empathy is what he needs, but it builds out of intelligence.
Yeah,
not
that's
charisma.
what I'm saying. Like, the other thing is like,
Int.
so I probably need less charisma, but like it's also pretty useful for my guy to have like, maybe con or like diplomacy
intimidation
or something like
is
that.
based out of charisma. So,
Yeah.
like, if that's how if that's something you find yourself doing, I'm just saying, theoretically, you could be solely int based, and still do both of the things you described, which was having total recall, investigation skills, and being able to read someone. those are both based off of int, which I actually like. I actually like that for once reading someone else isn't based out of charisma.
Yeah, so do I. I think it's pretty nice. I agree with you.
That's a schism that I hope actually proves to be a positive. Anyway, I'm gonna go empty my bladder, and then I'll be right back, and we can pound this out.
Pound it out.
Actually, speaking of which, I'm going to run over there too. Pardon me.
You've been pardoned, good sir.
You know, I didn't expect having a normal sleep schedule would screw with me this much.
No, it does, doesn't it? It fucking annoys me. Like, I am far more productive at nighttime than I am during the day. I don't know why, but like, it fucking annoys me.
I think I am more productive. The reality varies.
Yeah.
So, I'm having trouble making myself put points in the physical attributes for this character.
What is your character? Yeah, well, don't. I mean, like...
Yeah, I kind of just want to have him have ones in all the physical attributes.
Jesus.
And really good mental.
Well, okay, you got to look at what the pluses give you.
I'm looking what the attributes do right now.
So what are you going to use for a weapon? Like, you got to do combat stuff.
I was probably going to use like a small gun, like a pistol.
Well, then you need dexterity, which is a physical attribute.
That's what I was looking at right now.
Yeah.
I mean, my guy is looking right now to
Plus, if you don't have defense, dude, you're just gonna get routed.
Yeah, I know. Mechanically, not having anything in
cover in this game, and cover's a big deal, like it is in.
Oh, you're back. All right, welcome back.
That was fun.
Yeah, so in cover, it works a lot like Fragged Empire, where each level of cover is like a whole nother doubling of defense. Or where it's like there's partial cover, which is 1 dice, which is significant, but then it's 2, and then 4, and then 6, to the point where that's pretty significant. Now, one of the things that it's a dice pool system, and here's the thing that I haven't mentioned yet, guys, and this is really crucial to this entire concept. Success in this system is not determined by having a high roll. It's determined by having an even roll.
Yeah.
You roll a die that's an even-sided dice, which can be as few as 1d2 or as high as 1d100. Although that's really infuriatingly hard.
We'd just use a 1d2, a d2, because a 2 is a success and a 1 is a fail. Like, that would be the easiest way to show it on stream, at least. You know?
Yeah.
Now, what that ends up meaning is that the system that has 2 effects. One, it means that you can take the average of your roll instead of having to roll it at all. So if you have 8 dice, you can take 4 instead of rolling. And what you'll find is that in most scenarios, even with a sort of low defense, the enemy probably won't be able to take the average, and so they'll have to roll to hit you. And if your defense is high enough, say because of cover, you can just take the average on your defense roll often. So I wouldn't worry too much about having low defense rolls. Or some of the numbers. Well, most of the people end up with 5 defense, and none of them have really had a problem. That Scotsman who dived on the U-boat all by himself had a problem, but he dived on the U-boat all by himself. So if you're planning on doing that, maybe you do want more than 5 defense.
No, I plan on having this character avoid combat as much as possible.
Well, yeah, then you wouldn't really need to worry about 5 for defense.
Okay. I'm thinking of going 1 strength, 2 dexterity, 1 body, 2 charisma, 5 intelligence, and 3 willpower.
I think that works.
So stun is just equal to your body?
What?
Stun is just literally equal to your body.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it makes it easy to think.
So explain to me how the stun works again.
I think...
So stun is about taking damage in a single hit. If it exceeds your your stun in a single hit, then you get dazed. You don't take your next action. And if it like doubles your stun, or I think it's double +2 or something like that, then you get straight out knocked out, unconscious. So stun is basically a mechanic for determining, taking a single very heavy blow is different than taking many small blows, even if they're equivalent to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just a mechanic for representing that. To clarify, that's only happened once. When in my game, that's only happened once. It almost will never happen. But Graham, our bare knuckle pugilist, did a called shot knockout blow on the Scotsman in a bar fight, and that is how much it was. That is how much he basically did, like 11 damage. And that was the only thing that could possibly. Since then, people have been shot by Nazis until they're dying, and still never had an issue with their stun rating. Although heroes have triggered stun ratings on enemies multiple times by using called shot. Basically, unless someone's succeeding at a called shot or has the trait knockout blow, you're not going to be dealing with the stun rating ever, because most weapons have like 2 damage, and pretty much everyone's stun rating is 2 at the very least.
Yeah, my stun is 2. So basically, if I get hit for more than 2 damage
in a single attack.
Yeah. Okay.
So not even like in a single combat round. It needs to be a single Nazi or tribesman's attack or whatever.
So my numbers are as follows: body 2, dexterity 3, strength 1, charisma 2, intelligence 5, and willpower 2, which ends up making it move is 4, perception is 7, initiative is 8, defense is 5, and stun is 2.
Yep, that sounds like pretty much standard. I don't really need to know this because you will be sending me your PDFs when they're done.
Obviously, but just for everyone playing at home.
Yep. Yeah, for everyone playing at home.
Well, I'm actually showing my character sheet on screen, so.
I see that. Yes, very good.
I'm still tweaking my numbers a bit. Right now I have all 3s in the body parts, all 2s in the mind parts, but I'm gonna want to mess with that.
So
yeah, well, save this though, because it's not actually the most pertinent thing. You guys can keep tweaking that right up until game time, as long as you send me the new PDF. The important thing to talk about is skills. Have you guys looked at the skill list?
I have. Mine's pretty straightforward, I think. So.
Yep, it's probably straightforward for most of.
How many skills do we get?
So skill points, as also exampled in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. We get 15 skill points.
You get 15 skill points as well.
And we can take them up to 5?
Let me double check that, but yeah, probably, because that's how it works with attributes as well. Also keep in mind skill synergy, which you may want to build for particularly, which is if there's any task which can be accomplished by either of 2 skills, and you have both skills to certain levels, then you can basically add bonus dice onto your roll to combine skills, so to speak.
Yeah, all right.
All right, you may not purchase more than 5 skill levels in any one skill during character creation.
So okay, explain to me what happens when you roll a skill.
So when you roll a skill, your pool is determined by its base primary attribute, and then its skill level, which determines your whole dice pool.
Okay, so if I put 5 into empathy and I have 5 in intelligence, I'm basically getting 10 die to use. Interesting.
You get 10 in a dice pool at the start of character.
Same similar idea to Shadowrun, actually.
Yeah, but so okay, so a normal success, what does that look like?
Well, it's almost always there's 2 things. So for amorphous things like against the environment, like I don't know, a track roll or something, I determine the difficulty. Against an NPC, they have a counter roll that they roll.
Right. So if I wanted to like
it.
check, in this case, if I wanted to check their body language to see if they're lying or something like that.
They would make an opposed, probably, I think, con roll.
Yeah. Like a
I
bluff
think
or
that's
something like
probably
that.
the appropriate. I think that's what they call bluff in this one.
Mm.
Yeah, bluff,
Yeah.
fast talk, lies, tricks, seduction, etc. So they'd make an opposed con, or if they didn't even have con, they would use a base of charisma as to roll.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean it's pretty much like that. There are some instances that for defense, especially if it's a non-standard defense, like we're not just getting attacked, but we're trying to maintain our balance or resist a mental attack or something. Even if you don't have an appropriate skill for that type of defense, it typically lets you double your primary attribute and roll that.
Okay.
So keep that in mind.
So specialized skills, how do they work?
The skills that require specializations, you have to declare your specialization, essentially.
So like science is a specialized skill, craft is a specialized
you can't just
skill.
well, you can if you get the talent. There's a talent that says rather than specialize, you're just good at the entire field. So you can be but if you don't get that, it has to be biology is the skill that you're actually buying. Science or whatever, or geology or archaeology, etc. Yeah. Although I think archaeology it's probably academics instead. It doesn't really matter. Basically, all of the only reason that you have to differentiate between science, craft, and academics is because of the talent that lets you be good in all of it, because you're only good in all of academics, not all of academics, craft, and science. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And or pilots, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, pilot, you need to be specific vehicles as well.
And art, in art you need to be specific as well, but...
Yeah, in art.
I was going to say I'd try and figure out a way that would come into play, but then I figure out a ton of ways that should come in. But whatever.
It doesn't actually. You'd think, I've got a photographer in my other game. He put points into photography, and I don't see when him being able to take a photograph is ever going to be strictly relevant.
It came up in fucking Magic World, dude, so,
It did. It did. But he doesn't have, like, a digital camera that can... Like, it basically ends up just being a roll to see how good your resulting piece of art is, right?
Sure.
And so then you have to ask yourself, is the goodness of this piece of art going to have an effect on the game? And usually the answer is no. It's usually sort of like he's not going to get a chance to sell this stuff until the end of the campaign. It's really just determining how well things work out for his character. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it typically ends up not being relevant, but it could be, but probably very rarely. Like, impress the Nazi with your art skills to prove that you're a member of the Aryan race, because all Aryans are good at everything. Well, then maybe, but that's probably a very rare thing. Show me that you are a brilliant German artist.
So, we can take as many skills as we fucking want, right?
As long as you got the points. There's no limit to number of skills. I got one guy who nearly filled up both columns of skills before the game had even started.
Mm-hmm.
So that made him more of a jack of all trades. He wasn't really good in any of them.
So,
although it is worth pointing out that if you have to make a roll for a skill that you aren't trained in and it doesn't have a primary attribute defense sort of thing, then you suffer a penalty for not being trained at all.
I think it's like a -2.
Yeah, so even just 1 point in something is essentially 3 dice in doing that thing because you don't get the penalty. Just to point out.
-3 dice.
Now everyone gets 1 free talent.
Yep.
And now how much does second
or
talent
resource? Talents and resources.
Or resource. Okay. Now how much would a second talent cost offhand?
15 of your FRIBA points.
Wait.
And we start with that much.
You get either one talent or one resource?
Yes.
Either
me see.
one talent. The talents and resources cost the same, and you get either a free one of either of them. The reason you make a distinction between them is because there's some other things that interact with talents and resources respectively, so they're split up because of that.
Okay. For my talent, I think I'm going to take skill mastery for linguistics.
I like that. It's not bad.
So you're good with every language?
No, it's good with deciphering codes, or codes, deciphering, and all that kind of stuff. It's not
Hold on a second.
specific languages.
I don't know that skill mastery actually applies to that one.
It does.
I think
Need it.
it's one
No,
of
it
the
does.
specialized ones. Yeah.
Linguistics
is?
is not.
Yep.
Linguistics is not specialized. It doesn't
No, it's
say.
not. It's not specialized.
It's not.
No.
No,
Yeah, it's not
it doesn't have-
specialized.
it doesn't have that
So,
little
yeah.
thingy. That little.
You can get skill
asterisk.
aptitude.
Yeah, you can
Is that
specialize
the
it.
one you're thinking about?
No. Specialize. Your character can specialize in codes, deciphering, gestures, lip reading, or translation.
Oh, it doesn't have an asterisk next to it saying that's a specialized skill. I think skill mastery means specifically the ones that you
Yeah.
have to choose a specialization in, not ones
Yeah.
that you can choose a specialization in. Because the
'Cause I think-
difference is, I think there's a difference. I think the difference is with ones that you have to choose a specialization, you can't even do the non-specializations with it. And skill mastery changes that. It's not that you get.
Okay.
So I think what you're looking for is skill aptitude, not mastery, which is essentially.
Well, no.
plus
I
two.
thought you had specialized for linguistics.
Yeah, I don't think you do. Like every skill lets you specialize, but
Mhm.
some of them have to specialize in order to specify which type of thing it applies to. Period. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah, I see.
It is a little bit less than completely straightforward, I admit.
Hmm. Resources.
So there's a really good reason to fucking take a skill if you max out like one attribute, like because it just makes sense, right? It just fucking totally makes sense.
Well, you also have to justify your character having the skill. I mean, you have to tell me why a private investigator working in wherever you're working
Has performance.
has linguistics, say.
I'm
Just 'cause
not
you
going
have-
to take linguistics. Basically, I'm taking empathy, firearms, larceny, drive, survival,
Yeah, no,
demolitions,
that's-
and medicine.
Those sound fine, honestly.
Those
Yeah.
all largely make sense. Demolition, medicine, but I'm not going to say no.
Okay, so
You have to
army.
explain why.
I was in the army. Survival,
Okay.
demolitions, and medicine all come from my army training.
Okay.
Pretty much it.
Well, then I imagine they're kind of low because they were more ancillary.
Medan, we're using Hollow Earth Expedition. This is just for CC at the moment. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I know that you guys are having a lot of fun in chat, just shooting the shit. But like, I'm like trying to put together this guy. You know, he's a pretty cool guy. Figured I would put him together.
Don't lie, Dave. Don't lie.
We're playing Hollow Earth Expedition, and really, if the chat wants to talk to somebody, it should be me because I'm capable of multitasking, and I have an animal magnetism that far surpasses Dave. I don't have a magnificent beard, but you just look at the beard. You don't talk to the beard. You know what I'm saying?
Beard is a part of the psychic, man.
Okay,
It
I
is
think
an object,
I
and
concur.
you objectify Dave when you stare at his beard.
No. You objectify his beard because you want to do dirty things to said beard. But the rest of it's kind of cool.
I've got my skills down. Academics, firearms, linguistics, and
We're
investigation.
playing Hollow Earth Expedition. As far as edition, I'm not even aware if there are multiple editions for Hollow Earth Expedition.
There's version numbers, but like,
Yeah, but that's patches. There's not like there hasn't been a whole re-release that is a separate edition. We are still making characters, but he thinks it's D&D still.
yeah.
Look at the picture, guys. Hollow Earth Expedition. It's got really
No,
nice
it
letters.
isn't. It isn't a D&D group, so.
I really like Dave, by the way. Nice touch. making it so that the E in expedition comes over your, like you made it you made it a front thing, not a back thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course. I mean, I'm not silly with Photoshop, so.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to play Hollow Earth Expedition. This actually does bring something up, guys. There are supplements to Hollow Earth Expedition. Supplements that may be relevant in character generation. But if you have to go get the supplement and send it to me if you want it in the game. If you don't get it and send it to me, it's not in the game. So right now, we're just using the core book, and that's the only thing whose rules or things apply.
Well, the only thing that I could potentially see being useful is like that extra inventory.
Hang on, Dave, real quick.
Yes.
Well, we're talking about the firearms thing. Then, I mean, there's that. I found it. It actually has a ton of weapons on it.
What are we holding on? Some of the really good ones are like Secrets of the Surface World. That one has a lot of stuff in it, but I don't have it. And so if someone wanted the things in it, they would have to get it.
Hey, Rick, check the Skype chat box real quick. Sorry to cut you off.
Check the Skype chat box because we're saying dirty things.
We are. It's about Dave's dick and balls.
Dick and
the
balls.
fact that he doesn't have a beard on it, for fuck's sake.
You don't
I don't
know
think that matters.
You didn't know that.
Cool, I just wasn't sure how obvious I should
Well,
Dick and
actually,
balls
ask
might have a
Dave.
beard.
It's not me who's supposed to. You'd like Dave's the one who. It's his
Hey,
stream.
Dave, sir, you might as well check that chart real quick.
The chart.
Chart chat. Bah.
Yeah, I'm downloading it now. The firearms thing.
I meant check the chat box. Oh, yeah,
No,
firearms is all I was thinking, but I just wasn't sure how. Never mind. You guys all suck.
He's asking if it's kosher to talk about
Oh no.
file sharing on your stream.
Look, it's you know, I've bought the game already, so it doesn't matter. Like I've already done my business.
Okay.
So like
When it comes to TTRPGs, there is an expectation that within a group, only one person buys the material, whether or not that's in real life or on the internet.
by the way,
those PDFs shareable.
yeah. By the way, what's the average box for in the skills section?
I was about to ask that as well.
So as I said earlier, you can take the average of the roll instead of rolling it.
Okay.
If you have 8 dice, you can roll. You can take the average of 4. It's you would never want to fill out the average box unless you have a problem with simple arithmetic.
Is it literally just the median?
It's the average. It's not the median. Because
the
if you
middle,
have,
but yeah,
let's say you have 9, right?
sure.
If you have 9 dice, the way that you take the average is you have 4, and then you only roll 1 dice. So it can either be just 4 or also 5, if you have 9.
All right. So what did I decide was going to be my flaw?
We talked about paranoid. We talked about
Lame, I think, was the one I was going to go with.
lame. We talked about that's not describing taking paranoid. It's you see what I'm saying? It was describing itself.
All right, awesome. That Winchester Trench Sweeper is the fucking gun my guy is going to want to go for.
They don't have M2 Bleo 7, and I know you're joking, but I mean, you could at least be smart when you joke instead of an idiot who can't even read.
Don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I can't read. It's Hollow Earth, not D&D.
Yeah, I'm gonna take lame. I'm not sure how you're gonna make that hurt me, but I'm taking lame.
Well, your move is -2. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Whatever
So literally, instead of it being 4, it is now 2.
it is now 2.
And does that mean every single time that I fucking move, it's just gonna be terrible?
It means every time I would have called for a move roll, which is
so I roll 2 die, basically. Then.
yeah, instead of 4.
Compared. I mean, that's also compared to somebody who has higher move, like probably me at 7.
You know what? Fuck it. We're doing it. It seems like it might be cool.
Yeah. It's got flavor to it.
So I'm going to put
very
4
much
-2
does.
in here. Because, yeah.
That's fine. I don't
Alright,
care how
so
you do
where
it.
are the weapons, bitch?
Hey,
This is the
Rick.
firearm supplement, which I guess we're now technically using.
Yeah, I definitely want to use the firearm supplement if possible. Because
So
that
since
kind of
you-
fits the character description I was going through of like a war correspondent who got sucked into the trenches. And
Well, I imagine a lot of what's in the supplement may not be available to you at starting months.
Korma code, there is like Tommy guns and stuff like that in this game. Which is pretty cool. But, you know...
It's an official supplement?
Yeah, looks like it.
Because it...
Yeah, I mean,
does.
it's probably. I think it's
Yes,
just
don't
a very
look
small one.
So what we got here? We got Cult Army. I'm gonna just fucking move this over real quick. So
Well,
people
we
can
can't
see.
use any of this. It doesn't have... Yeah, this is clearly someone's, like, homebrew bonus stuff because it deals with range, which you don't typically deal with in this system, and it doesn't list cost.
this is a homebrew thing? Ah, balls.
It
I just
must-
wanted an
because
M97.
It does not function under standard rules. So
Okay.
this is disallowed, as a matter of fact. It doesn't have prices.
There is range stat in weapons. What are you fucking talking about? It says it right here in chapter fucking 5 under equipment, under RNG.
Yes, I know, but it's dealing with it in a different way in the supplement.
Okay. What was the trait that you ended up taking there, Frank?
I'm tied between tough attack for firearms or strong attack for firearms. But I'm thinking I'm going to go fuck it either way. I'm going to ditch both of those and then up my dexterity and lower my strength because the what I saw my character is a guy who was hanging on to his trench sweeper shotgun, but apparently that gun is disallowed now. So Rick, random question. If a guy wants to have a World War I era trench shotgun, that would just be a 12-gauge shotgun that happens to have a bayonet lug, right?
Wait.
You would buy the bayonet and the shotgun.
Yeah, but yeah, you could just buy like it's just a 12-gauge shotgun. It's not like some special crazy numbers or nothing.
Well, that would be how we would be doing it when we are dealing with just the Corebook, which is what we are currently just
Cool.
dealing with.
That works fine. I just wanted some clarity on that one.
Was not ideal. Obviously, we would prefer to have a specific type of stats for a specific type of gun.
I mean,
But,
it's the World War. The M97 was a regular pump-action shotgun. They just stuck a heat shield on it and stuck a bayonet lug on the tip. That's it. You can actually still buy
I'm pretty
recreations.
Sure there is. Hold on a sec. Let me check.
They have Gatling guns in this game.
Oh, they do.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I just looked at the range, how they describe range stat, and
Well, the real problem is there's no prices. We can't.
Yeah,
use
that's-
it if there's prices.
like,
Wow, you can get a 22 for $13.
Dude, 1930s prices,
I
man.
know. I'm just like, what?
You bought a cheeseburger, they gave you a gun and like 8 hand
Look.
grenades, man. That's just the way it worked.
look, $100 back then nowadays would be about $1,700.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, there is a bayonet. So you would simply
Attached.
pay for the bayonet, and it would be on your shotgun.
So yeah,
Yeah,
bayonet
I
fixed
was-
is $2. $2.
I was doing the math. I was doing the numbers and all that shit. The bayonet's pretty much just any. As far as I last saw in the rules, the bayonet was any bladed weapon you stick on the end of a gun. So
No, there's a bayonet in the equipment.
There is
so
one right there under melee. It's called bayonet fixed. It does
but
2
when
L
you
damage.
remove that bayonet from the gun, you've got just a regular dagger.
It's a
No,
fucking
because it's a fixed bayonet. That's what it says in the equipment. So
Yeah.
you can't remove it. So if you're going to have a bayonet on a gun, it doesn't come off, is the point.
I'd imagine it'd be like one of those things where you could slide it back.
Okay, that's then what would you do for a sort of bayonet or like a regular one of those rifles where you can put on or remove the bayonet? Are we going to be having that at all?
Do you mean
I
like
don't think. I mean,
I kind of like the idea of having a dagger I could stick on the tip of my gun as a bayonet. That seems.
do you mean like with the little knobby thing that goes over the muzzle?
It's not a knobby. It's just a little bayonet lug on the tip. Like most, in fact, World War I was famous for bayonet charges and shit. And they were all with like, in fact, they did bayonet charges with blades that were like longer than your forearm. But
yeah.
So if we're gonna do it like that, that's cool. But
the thing is, a bayonet that attaches to a gun,
yeah,
you cannot wield it off the gun because it doesn't have a handle. It just attaches to a muzzle. So you'd have to grab the blade with your hand to wield it, which is why you can't detach it and then just have a dagger, because it doesn't have a handle or a handle attachment. So you can take it off your gun so that your gun doesn't have a bayonet on it, but you have no method of purposing it to using it.
It seems like it's more of a
Rec.
functionality thing than anything.
Rec,
You have nowhere to grab it, is the point.
Hey, Rec, check this Skype link I'm sending you right now. Just
okay.
I don't want to be argumentative about this, but I'm kind of curious.
I don't know what you're so.
It's just
those
World War I bayonets in general. They've all got handles you can take them off on, so that's why I'm kind of unsure what you mean by the.
Well, the bayonet in the system is the.
It's the one that stays permanently attached to the gun?
Right, it's the hoop bayonet. Now,
Okay.
I'm not saying that the knife bayonet didn't exist. It's not telling me what
no
the
rules
stats
for
of that one would be.
Okay.
Well, I would just count it as a fucking knife when it's not on there, right?
Yeah, but would you be okay with counting a knife bayonet as a dagger when not being used as a bayonet, and a bayonet when you stick it on the tip of your gun?
Is there even daggers in here? I don't know if there is.
Yeah.
Daggers covers pretty much every kind of knife. Would
Oh
you
no,
be-
okay, so like the difference
would you
here
be
is
okay with
that the damage is 2L on a bayonet, and on a dagger it's 1L.
You've got extra force when you stick it on a gun. Like, if you're not cool with that, that's fine. I just want to make sure we're kind of on the same page as to the mechanics and shit.
I mean, it does make sense that you can take it off, honestly.
So, yeah, like ring bayonet, I understand completely. I just wasn't... my character was thinking of having a bayonet, a World War I-ish bayonet, because they were in the trenches, they dealt with that shit, and I would like... Honestly, I think it'd be cool for them to be able to stick it on their gun when shit's going to go down. But if that's not cool, by all means, that's fine. I just want to get that out of the way now so I don't, like, wreck game later by sticking knives on guns and making things weird.
Duct tape.
Because it's called a fixed bayonet in the system,
Yeah.
it's this one that I'm linking in the in
Magic.
Skype.
Redirect notice.
All right, wikipedia.org.bayonet. Is it the early 19th century spike bayonet?
Yeah, that's the one that it is communicating to me as it's being. I mean, it's
They were actually the mechanics of the
it's
bayonets.
a
were there was
$1.
a-
Like I would just
Okay, I
have
can
a bayonet
buy
and
another
buy a
knife.
dagger.
All right, that's fine. I wasn't
mean-
looking at price. I was just thinking just ease of use or whatnot. I can buy another.
Yeah.
I can buy some more knives. That's no biggie.
What type of pistol does a PI normally have? I'd imagine it'd be like a fucking Colt or something like that, right?
Which you want, like traditional, like real world traditional?
Like if
would
we're
be
going pulpy ass
58
motherfucker. Like,
Pulp ass motherfuckers in 1911, like dual 1911s, like fucking what's his face, and oh man, god damn it, in the Stuff Dreams Are Made Of, not the Scarlet Letter. What the fuck is that?
so what does the L mean next to damage, by the way?
Lethal.
Oh, cool. And N means non-lethal, I guess, then? Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And STR is like the strength modifier? Like, what? I don't understand that. Or how much strength you need to use it. Oh, minimum strength needed to wield the weapon efficiently. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like, I can't dual wield because that requires a trait.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play with my character stuff a bit because now that I'm not doing the bayonet thing, I'm probably gonna be redoing some numbers here.
Yeah, I need to change my guy if I want to use a Colt because it's like strength required is 3 apparently to use a fucking pistol.
Hey Rec, what are your thoughts on putting prices on some of those guns in that other link there? Because they're
not gonna do it.
No, okay.
I'm not gonna deal with trying to get that balance right.
All right.
There are people who have actually gone through to balance the money for this, which it may or may not be balanced, but they've actually taken the time to do it, and I'm not going to try and guesswork my way through those other weapons.
Not trying to shove you on that, just curious where you stood. That works.
That's fucking weird. Why does a ranged weapon need so much strength?
Recoil would be my guess.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can guess.
Why is a revolver a less caliber than a 1911? That makes...
A 1911 is a 45 shell, which was actually... They did... Actually, I think right around this time of this country, they did bullet tests on cadavers and cows to see what type of diameter and speed of bullet would do the most damage on a man-sized target and kill them the quickest. And the numbers came out that a large moving slow round like the 45 was the best you could do on a man-sized target because it transfers the massive amount of shittiness on the victim. In fact, it was the Philippine Wars that taught this because they had lower caliber bullets, and they would shoot those guys, and the guys would just keep coming at them. They wanted something that would put them on their ass in one hit. So 45 makes a little bit of sense for a shit ton of damage. I'm not so sure about the... I don't know the strength requirement on that one.
That's 3. The Colt 1911, M1911 is 3.
Yeah, that's
which
a Colt.
Is like that's fucking a lot.
That's the same as a shotgun. That's a little odd.
Well, in return, you get 3 lethal damage from it.
Yeah, that's true.
You get 1 extra lethal damage, so it's not just... I mean, it's describing how you're... It's 3 because you do so much damage, is essentially, with a pistol.
Yeah.
My ideas of characterness are changing as we play with this stuff.
Yeah. So, what is there any downside to having, like, just 1s in everything in terms of attributes?
Yeah, you're gonna get the way the skills work is the same as Shadowrun. You have your attribute plus your skill level. If you only have 1s, you're gimping whatever skill. So you need 6 points in 1s, and 6 points in your skill, and 1 point in your attribute to make a 7. But if you had a 3 and a 4, you would have the exact same roll.
Yeah. Just trying to work out where I can get 2 points from in my list. Because I can't really take any out of body. I have to take it from intelligence, but I don't.
What's your body right now?
2.
Body's a 2. Okay, yeah. I don't know if
I need to put 2 points into strength if I want to use this pistol.
What's your stats again? You said
2, 3, 1, 2, 5, and 2.
2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, and it's gonna have to be out of intelligence, honestly.
Yeah.
You're going to have to take at least 1 point out of intelligence.
No, I know that. And I don't know where the other one's going to come from. Maybe charisma?
Maybe. I'm running 1 charisma. Mostly...
What character are you playing again?
The
archaeologist? Yeah.
So I'm doing 1 charisma partially just because it makes sense with the character. I'm thinking that he wouldn't, He's, by this point, I guess he... sorry, it's late. It's 1 a.m. where I am. It's getting hard to word things.
Same here.
Well, actually, we've covered all of the things that we technically need to cover as a group.
Yeah, I think the rest of this is just us, actually.
Yeah.
Probably.
So, why don't I give us an exit strategy here right now? Let's go off, fill out our PDFs. Everyone, I suggest you take a look at the official supplements for Hex and see if any of them pique your interest and want them involved. All you have to do is purchase them and then send me a copy for them to be part of our game. If not, then we'll just go with the Corebook and it'll be fine. And then in a week, we will come back. And as long as I've had your character sheets by Tuesday of next week, we'll be fine. Yeah. If I haven't had your character sheets by Tuesday of next week, then I will not be able to have a scenario for you on Thursday. Sure. So we have to be done, and I have to have all of your character sheets by the end of Tuesday. And end of Tuesday for me is like 11 p.m. my time, so you can't be like 2 a.m.ing it, because then I'll be going to sleep. And then
what time is your time?
Central. So you have to have to get it for you specifically on the West Coast. You have to get it to me before 9 p.m.
Okay.
East Coast, we literally have till midnight.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, I think this is probably a good place to leave it. Thanks everyone for joining us for the CC session. I know it's been pretty boring, but you guys have been pretty active in chat all the same. I think
me too, Bleo. We are. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I too would like to get a more than once a week game going, but we don't have any players in Die Party right now except for Dave who can fit that into their schedule. But stay tuned. Stay followed to Die Party because, we got that in the works. We got, things in the works, man. Things are coming down the pipeline that are so big and juicy that we are going to need laxatives and enemas to
You will
to
choke
get them
when you
out
try to take a bite out of it.
of our buttholes.
Yeah, so there is other Die Party games that do go on. I mean, we've got Wrath of the Minotaur. We've also got Fragged Empire. This Sunday we'll also have, hopefully, the final of Asylum, which is everyone here in this current party.
Except for Jacob.
Except for
Jacob's
Jacob.
placed with
The
Hemlock.
only game I'm not in.
Yeah. And M2 Bleo 7, thank you very much for the follow, dude. Welcome, as Frank would attest. Welcome to the Empire.
I will rip on you so hard for that.
Hey, whatever, dude. I don't give a fuck.
The Empire. You
It's
don't even smoke.
good. I know.
Ah.
I know.
He's not saying hempire. He's saying henpire.
Yeah, as in like
Because his name
Empire,
is
but hen. You get it? Yeah, it's all good. It's
I
way of it.
understand,
It's
Dave,
too
but
intelligent
last time,
for you.
You said Empire. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
He didn't.
henpire.
He's been saying henpire. He's just
Wreckage,
got an
we will
Australian
argue
accent.
that last one all night long.
Anyways, guys, thank you very much for joining us. I'll be back tomorrow for some streaming action.
And then Saturday for Fragged Empire, where things are crashing into planets and people are finding it frustrating to operate a computer that's in a different language.
Yeah.
Um,
Like English. Yeah. So that'll be good. And
you don't know where it's going.
yeah. I don't know what I'll play Friday, actually. I have no fucking idea, actually. Absolutely none.
With yourself.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'll probably play Binding of Isaac or some bullshit because I want to play Lords of the Fallen, but the fucking thing keeps crashing, so I can't play that.
Dave, play Wastelands.
Actually, no,
that's not
that's
a good Twitch game.
That's probably not a bad idea. I might try that.
Wastelands
Anyways.
is amazing.
Anyways,
I found Jesus, and he lives in the wasteland
okay.
too.
Don't spoil it for me. I don't want to know.
Yeah, you're spoiling things, Frank.
There's no Jesus in
God.
there. I'm pretty sure there's no Jesus. I haven't found one yet. I meant that as more of a theoretical found
Oh,
Jesus.
okay. I see what you're saying.
So yes, like the wastelands help me be a better person.
Oh.
This
Oh,
is me
that's
praying
nice.
right
Sure,
now.
I
Yes.
see it.
So
Anyway,
by slaughtering
X-
the souls of
X will
unworthy.
be on Thursdays from now on. Fragged Empire will be on Saturday. Asylum will be on Sunday. And Dave will be cam dancing for you tomorrow. So,
Sold.
Check that
Jesus, fuck! How do I follow?
You
Damn.
click the follow button.
I don't want to have.
Yeah, so thanks everyone for watching. If you haven't, please make sure that you follow down below. It's just down there, Frank, and for everyone else who hasn't seen it already. If you missed any of this stuff, it'll be up on my YouTube, which is the best place to go find all the Die Party archives. There's like over 100 hours worth of fucking dumb fucking roleplay on there. It is good stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess we out. Catch you later, guys.
See you guys.
See ya.
Later.
Yo.